Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is on the Anvil episode 38?
I think it's 39.
39! Nailed it.
39. Yeah.
39. This is the time, this show where we go behind the scenes here at Dwarven Forge and show you what we're working, what we're thinking about, talk about our design process, and mostly just have a drink and hang out. Although tonight I don't have, we have water.
You got water? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You're going to need it tonight.
Started.
There's going to be a lot of talking. Tonight's going to be a bit of an interesting episode. We decided with the Castle Build of the Month happening, I should put that in the news actually. With the Castle Build of the Month happening, we decided it would be fun to spend tonight looking back at the castles, the Kickstarter, all the work that went into it, all the stories surrounding it. Because we know you guys like hearing some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and there's a lot of really interesting stories surrounding the castles in particular.
So that's tonight. I'm Nate, and this is Chris, and we're gonna take you back in time to last week, and then to 5 years ago to the castles.
That's true. Why don't we go ahead and get into the news?
Oh yes.
Get ready.
Ready. News. News. It's the news.
Can you take us to further than 5 years ago? Is that possible? Thank you, Commerce Demon.
So what's in the news?
What's in the news? First thing, Ghost Tiny Brushes. We talked about them a couple times. We wanted to announce, if you watch the Hobby Hangs, he's actually going... Well, first off, so Ghost Tiny Brushes, if you haven't heard about him, makes these nice little... It's, a one-guy operation in his basement?
Yeah. He makes a variety of... This is his third brush Kickstarter. So he did one for regular brushes, then he did dry brushes. That's how I got turned on to him, because his dry brushes are unbelievable. And then I also started using regular brushes, and now he's doing one for detail brushes. Can you switch to the close-up cam? I don't know if the focus.
Yeah.
He sent us samples. His name's Jeff, and he's an awesome dude. And he's got Kickstarter's got another week and a half or something. They just broke. He broke 100K. Unlocked. There's a miniature dry brush, a little tiny dry brush in there. These are some details. There's a chisel tip detail brush, and I don't know, four different detail brushes. Plus a little dry brush for it. Plus you can get the other brushes. Great dude, great brushes, good stuff. And what? He's gonna...
Yeah, so the fun thing is, we've been talking for a while. If you watch the Hobby Hang, we've been talking about how we want to start bringing guests on from the creative space. He's actually going to be our first guest. It'll either be tomorrow or next week. I'm pretty sure it'll be next week. Still working out the details, but he's agreed to come on. So we'll be demoing the brushes there and kind of just talking about, like, how do you go about making brushes, especially...
And why? What did you try to do?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of features. Thick candles and white bristles and all sorts of good stuff. He sent brushes for the Hobby Hang team too.
Yeah, we
so there's like...
got him a couple days ago. Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited to try them, and then we'll have him on the Hobby Hang, most likely next week. And I'm excited about that just because it's fun to kind of get back into the interviewing thing. I've kind of missed it since Wildlands.
Yeah, it'll be fun to have a new body there, right?
Yeah.
I forgot what the drafty, what is it?
Oh.
Malice drafts.
Malicious drafts? That's right. It's drafts, but it's like...
magical draft of malice. It's like a draft beer.
Magical draft of malice.
So Selena did their video. They have... she brought one of the things in yesterday. It's like a cool little potion bottle. That's a Magic 8-Ball thing. I'm definitely gonna get one for my kids. They're gonna for when we play. They're gonna love it. It's gonna be like the ultimate prop for when we play the things. There's a bunch of different ones.
Found it.
The magical draft of malice. And you know what? They have 20 days to go, and they need another 24K to fund.
Yeah, they just opened.
So
it's an interesting idea if you want to check that out. So those are the Kickstarter updates. Outside of that, a quick build of the month update. This month's build of the month will be going up tomorrow. It's the Sea Cave of Secrets, I believe.
That's correct.
It's a sewers mixed with caverns. It's got a fun little...
Sewers, caverns, and some accessories and some terrain trays. I think it's my favorite story so far because it's, I don't know, it's really fun. It's fun and stupid. Because they're all very serious. But this one, no, I think it's a fun one. And it's a two-parter. And we sort of figured out what we're doing for the second part yesterday. Castle built, at least we have a castle built. It's literally right here. We're going to look at it later.
Yeah.
So that'll go up Thursday?
Yeah, so tomorrow, Thursday, the Sea Cave of Secrets goes up. Also, if you're interested in sewers, Commerce Demon has made a guide for magnetizing your sewer sets. If that's interesting to anybody in particular, it is both pinned in the Discord as well as I'll actually grab it and post it in the chat as
Dude,
well.
and put it on Slack because I want to get all those magnets. I want to magnetize my sewers.
Yeah, he's actually got some information about like he's found like these magnets that are cheaper than the standard ones, but actually work better apparently.
Yeah, he posted it on Slack if you would be so kind to.
Cool.
So I can. I am gonna magnetize. I'm gonna set my children to work to magnetize my sewers.
Here, posted the link.
Although that's what super glue and children do not mix.
If you're trying to get him to sit still.
When Grayson was, I don't know, was he 2 or 2.5? He dropped one of my Realm of the Ancients doors and broke it, and he felt like really bad. It was because this one he was still trying to learn the difference between resin and dwarvenite, and crystal clear now. That would kind of he was like he figured out there. So but he came over to watch me like fixing it. I was super gluing it together, and he was like, "Oh, cool!" And he like picked up the thing I was doing. I was like, "Whatever you do, don't touch that." And he like picked it up, and he's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Your fingers." And he was like, his fingers were super glued, and he started screaming, and it was, yeah. So super glue and children, don't do it.
Let's see. So we got that.
I do love me some Gorilla super glue.
Yes. Let's see. I think outside of that, the big thing is just so last week was our anniversary week celebration.
I have a random piece of news before we talk about the game. Oh, were you going to talk about the wait? We're not talking about the game. You're talking about last week. You're talking about the general wrap up. Yeah.
If it's the thing we were going to ask him about, then it was going to be the.
What was the thing we were going to ask him about?
About naming the.
Oh yeah. No, we'll say that in the game.
Yeah, I was going to put that at the end. Okay, cool. Yeah. Last week was the anniversary week. Thank you all for supporting that. First off, we had a very good turnout the entire week.
It's awesome.
And it was only able to happen because of all the submissions we got, and everybody was very enthusiastic and very positive about it. It was really cool to see, and it kind of helped us with feeling like, yeah, we're doing the right thing here, like we're on the right track, which is nice, and it was fun to do something that I think I can comfortably say nobody's done before. So
good reason.
So it's fun to be able to say that. How about some Underdoom news? We might have some. Hang on, we'll get to that after.
We're ordering Underdoom core sets.
Underdoom core sets on the way.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, anniversary game wrap up. So.
Oh, before we do that, I have two thoughts. So I just remembered the why use terrain video.
Yes.
We don't have full details yet. We're putting together a video of, hey, why the heck would you play with terrain on your table? And we'd love to feature videos from you guys of videos of your setups and whatnot. We don't exactly know entirely what we need yet. We're still sort of putting it all together. But if you are interested in participating, please send us an email at OTA, that's for On the Anvil, OTA at dwarvenforge.com, so we can get your name over to Selena. She's going to round them up, and when we know what we're doing, we can reach out to you. And we'll do another call for action, like when we actually know exactly what we want. But basically, we're looking for some people to shoot your setup at home. Like, what do you or a thing or so. I don't know. We'll let you know exactly what it is. But we want to just show, like, here, this is actually how it goes out in the real world. And we love getting fan content. It's the best. It's so cool. It was the best part of the game.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like it's felt like we've really been able to tap into that a lot and just kind of see like how much love there is out there, which is great considering the pandemic and everything going on. It's been really nice to be able to like through social media, through like all these other things, like still feel kind of a connection because we don't have the conventions anymore.
It's almost better than conventions because it doesn't go relentlessly for like 4 days.
That's fair.
Except for last week.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people haven't showered.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, here's my random thought that I had yesterday, and I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I'm curious. Would people be interested in watching some random build streams? Like, not on the Anvil, not a building of the build of the month, but like, I'm pretty constantly, I'm building maybe interesting builds. I don't know if they're interesting, but is it worth just setting up a camera? Like, I literally have 4 camera coverage in my basement. Like, I don't, like, is it worth just setting up a camera and just building on camera? Would people be interested in that? And the weakness is I probably wouldn't be able to chat so well with you guys. But I don't know. I could sort of monologue and build and
need some way to check the chat pretty often.
Yeah,
possibly.
Or I guess I could pull up. I don't know. You have some way of getting the chat up while having OBS up.
I'll have to look at your setup and see. Yeah. You could possibly just like get on your phone and just look at the chat on your phone, possibly.
I probably wouldn't get anything done, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so if I don't know, would people, if there was just like a random, it's like a, you know, a random Friday, and I'm gonna build for a couple hours, turn on the camera and see what happens.
People seem to be. Nobody's saying no. Everybody's saying yes. I always struggle with using the pieces, so I try to catch YouTubes of builds. Then it's trying to figure out how it was done. Some of those that were done for the Kickstarter has been fascinating. Could always use inspiration for elevation builds.
I love elevation.
People are saying like, yeah, just put on like some nice like chill music, just keep it entertained. Because that is the thing. Like, if it is a situation where it is just you and you don't have like a co-host to like watch a chat for you, you could take a more laid back approach. There's this guy.
Yeah, just throwing some old school Slayer and just like.
There's this.
Chill.
I don't know if we could do Slayer. That's going to be a copyright issue.
Oh, okay.
You could possibly be listening to it yourself, and Jess would be feeding other music through to the chat. I don't know if there's royalty-free metal out there. We could just play the Dwarven Army on repeat.
On loop. Yeah.
But lo-fi is royalty-free. I don't think Nate would listen to lo-fi is the problem.
What's lo-fi?
So when it feels kind of grainy and scratchy, like...
Oh, you mean...
lo-fi.
I thought there was like a band that had
basically
named
like
themselves lo-fi.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
That'd be interesting, though.
Low fidelity.
Yeah, low fidelity, yes.
I am familiar with this concept.
Yeah, you could potentially do that. 'Cause there's these crafters. There's this one guy. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. It's like Bro XH is like his thing, and he's a Maori guy who just does. He just does like woodcrafting, and he's the nicest guy. And so he just has a camera like set up here, and like for the most part, he's not really watching anything. He's just like he's got this he makes like massive stuff out of wood, and he's just there like crafting the whole time. And every now and then he'll like kind of look up at like where his screen is and like squint and like try to read some stuff and be like, oh, thanks, brother. And he'll like and he'll like keep crafting. And
that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be brother NT, and
tell us what you're listening to. We can get it up on YouTube. We could set up
Spotify. Can't you?
You can have a command to link to a playlist, and so then people can actually you can do like a listening party basically that way.
Yes.
As long as we're not streaming it, we can't get sued. You know.
Yes. My go-to playlist. Overly epic power metal that can save the universe or destroy my marriage.
Twitch soundtrack is also available on Windows. I get that. Nate's just very particular about what he wants to listen to when he builds.
Yes. These are facts.
So I think yeah, we could set up a playlist and have just a command for people to bring up that playlist, and then they can listen along with you if they want.
If they want.
That was
a weird tangent.
That could be a cool way.
Just thinking the other day, I was like, I don't know. I spent a lot of time building, and it might be fun for people to watch. But.
All right. The Ghost Tiny guy just got back to me. Looks like we'll be doing next week.
Woo!
So next week's Hobby Hang, right around the 48 hour of his thing, we will do that. People are saying they really like this idea. You don't want to get 8-bitted like Metallica did at BlizzCon? Yeah, that was hilarious. So BlizzCon, Blizzard's annual convention, they had Metallica like do a performance, and so they were streaming it on Twitch. And so Twitch muted Metallica and was playing just like this like really chill, like Minecraft sounding, like
because they thought they were copyright infringing themselves.
Metallica playing their own music live got muted and just had like this like really slow, like chill Minecraft music played over it. It was hilarious.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
It
was
Lars must have been so pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Audio fingerprinting tech is crazy cool. Yeah.
So should we talk about the game?
Yeah.
Are we
so I guess like what we learned from the game, what we're thinking going forward.
Well, so first, for anybody that didn't, that missed, anybody that was under a Dwarvenite rock last week, it was our 1-year Twitch anniversary. So we did a wonderfully ambitious week of streaming, which led up to a live interactive game. And the point of it, which I think worked really well, was to involve you guys, right? It was our players were 3 viewers, probably at least 1 or 2 of them are here tonight. Our builds were all submitted by viewers except for the boss room, which was built in a build jam by Toby and Tyler, which was voted on by you guys, the viewers. And then when we were running the stream, you guys got to torture Chris and keep feeding the players inspiration and luck. And so it was a pretty fun, wild ride. And man, it was a lot trying to do. We did 8 rooms plus a decorative room for the beginning plus a boss room all in 4 hours, whatever, including a 10-minute break, a 10-minute intro, 10-minute outro, like.
Just building all of that stuff.
Yeah, it was silly.
on top of, and finding a way to like store all of it in a way that we could quickly access it on top of doing our actual jobs.
On top of also just writing it, right? So we wrote it on the Anvil. It's got 2 days before the thing. We're like, what are we gonna do? And then write it out and turn it into a thing. So I have a whole bunch of questions. I'm sure you have some questions too. My first question is, do people enjoy it? It sounds like based on the Discord and forums, the answer is yes. I'm curious, are any of our players here? Is Nick?
I've seen Topulus here. I'm not seeing Austin or Chris.
Topulus, what was it like to play in this thing?
Oh no, Chris is here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Austin's here. All 3 of them are here.
Yes,
actually.
Gentlemen.
They all spoke up now.
Pecorni's Angels. What was it like? What was it like to play in this game? And if everybody else, if you could just give them a sec, like don't type anything else in the chat. Just let these 3 guys just write in a quick little couple sentences of like what was that experience like on the other end.
Yeah. Was it smooth to you? Did you feel? Was there anything we could have done to make it?
How was the pressure? Like, could we have set you up for success in a different way? And then while they're doing that, you guys, the viewers, think about how was the experience, the viewing experience, if you'd sort of gone through I'm curious, were there people that watched the game on Friday that didn't watch any of the build-up? And what was that like versus was it fun to know what the rooms were going to be and then see the players go through it? And so hold those thoughts though for a sec. So
I am curious
Chris
how I am curious how the perspective was different between people who saw Wednesday and were like, oh, I can't wait for this room to come up, versus people who had no idea what was coming.
Yeah, I know. Grayson was really excited. My son was really excited because he knew, like he liked being in on the joke. He liked knowing what the story was roughly going into it, so he could sort of see how it panned out.
Let's see.
What did they say?
Oh, wow, all 3 of them posted at like the same time. Chris says it was great. Controlled chaos with the time limit and people using points to give us more time.
Controlled chaos with the time limit is exactly how I think that was what we were going for.
We were pretty spot on with the timing for like all the rooms.
An hour, but yeah, you're right. Our overall,
like in terms of like estimating how long we thought it would take.
It's that little bleed room in between that adds up and whatever. But
we didn't get to a point where it was like, oh man, like time's up and we haven't even finished explaining a room or anything like that. So it was nice. Topulus says, from a tech standpoint, it was smooth for the most part, though at times I felt like I was lagging behind / talking over people a bit.
That's the
mad
hard
dash.
Part of remote.
That's just part of remote gaming. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about not being in a room with everybody.
Especially when it's madcap like this and you're trying to like just
the mad dash in different rooms was fun and hectic. And then Austin says, it was smooth overall. It was very fast and chaotic, so there wasn't much time for role playing, but that was okay. Yep. The point was to go crazy with builds. I would have liked more role play, but everything else went well.
Yep.
I think for a one-time game celebrating the community, it was fantastic. For a weekly D&D game, that would be exhausting.
Oh, dude, you couldn't even like, you would.
I think it's part of the thing. And there were some people. There were some people who were saying, Mako, one of the guy who did the Dark Mirror build, said that he would have preferred like 4 rooms at a slower pace. Yeah. It's like Nate and I were talking about it earlier, and I was like, I don't think what we did was necessarily the highest quality game.
Oh, no.
But it was more like a challenge of, can we do this? Can we get all these rooms
We were trying to kind of involve as many people as we could, as many community-driven things as we could, and just have, just sort of trying to jam a year into a day was sort of the feel. And, it would have been like better, like cleaner D&D if we'd just done 4 rooms.
If we had trimmed it more and been more selective about like, no, this is what's going to be good. Instead, it was like,
if it was 3 half-hour rooms and then 1 hour-and-a-half boss room.
Yeah, it felt more like the point of this was to be a challenge of like, you guys just throw everything you want to see at us, and we'll make it work.
We wanted to go. You talk to the war chief in the forest and go into the grind house and talk to a drunk ooze and go through. It was just trying to like cover as much ground as possible in the time. But. For sure.
Chris says, plus finding the mini dungeons to open up more giveaways was great to feel like we were giving back to those giving us luck and inspiration.
Yeah. That was how were the giveaways from a viewing standpoint? Was that fun? Like, was it?
Did it feel appropriately rewarding?
Yeah. People were. The idea was we wanted people to root for and help them push through the rooms in time so we could unlock all these giveaways and have everybody kind of invested in the success. Did that work? And that was a lot of that was a bonkers amount of giveaways. Right, we did 11 or 12?
It was. I mean, okay, so we had 8 possible ones that they could unlock by clearing a room in time. They missed 1, so we got 7. 7 of those giveaways, And then we had the 2 resin giveaways, and then we
the
had
bonus resin.
the bonus resin. So that's
10.
that's 10 giveaways right there. And then that's not counting the
I guess everybody that we used to build for got a giveaway.
mini.
The understudies got a giveaway, and the players got a giveaway, and they got their minis.
Yeah, plus we're
So
shipping
that's
out
like
the minis should be getting shipped out tomorrow, by the way, guys. They got all the information. I believe the player minis are being shipped tomorrow.
So it was like 25 or 26 people getting giveaways.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
We ended up giving away 19 Eldritch Foundry minis,
Woo!
3 resin sets, a Vorpal board thing,
2 sets of dice, 3 sets of dice.
3 sets of dice.
It's awesome. That's like
It was a
that's
lot.
what we want to do. Like, it's amazing.
It was an ideal celebration game. It worked well for me, having watched all the lead-up streams, too. There were tons of giveaways. It was fun. I feel bad for Chris keeping track of them. The nice thing was, like, we knew what was coming ahead of time enough that I just kind of had a sheet set up that made it easier to plug everything in.
Did people like sort of knowing what was slated for each room, and then seeing how it played out?
I think so far I've only seen it from people who did see the lead-up stuff.
Yeah.
So far they're all saying, Subtalent says definitely amazing. I really enjoyed it. Hope you all do it regularly.
Oh, geez, no.
That was
It was really like
that was a significant amount of my month.
I know we made it look effortless, but yeah.
For a weekly D&D game, that would be exhausting. Yes. Just want to commend Nate's bringing the NPCs to life. It was awesome. I feel like that's kind of the thing that we were able to like latch onto to like help get it down. Was like doing like weird voices and high energy stuff is just what we're comfortable with.
Yep.
Scale it down, do it more often. We're trying to take some things that we learned from this to roll into doing other games, which is something we'll talk about.
So I have 2 questions for that, or one. We'll get to them in a second. What were people's favorite rooms and why?
Lady Diley says here, I'm curious which dungeon was the player's favorite.
Oh yeah, as a player, what was your favorite? That's a really good question.
6 says he was incredibly upset about the giveaways.
Because he lost all of them.
Yeah. He says I can't quite put my finger on why I'm upset about them.
11 chances to lose.
Giveaways felt really connected. I loved how it had to be unlocked. Yeah, like it felt like we made everybody. Gilded Poison says the community involvement was what made me really enjoy it. Hearing the names of people in the Discord and knowing we had impact on the ideas behind the scene was great. Giveaways were great.
You guys did, right? They like it was your builds, it was your ideas, it was your it was really it was awesome.
I know that like Miles watched a bit of the game, and then when he's had free time, he's been going back and watching the streams throughout the week, like after the fact, and he's been enjoying
see
that.
how the sausage was made.
Giveaways were great. I liked having other gaming groups participate. That was a cool thing. Is also just a lot of the people that we love working with. A lot of the other companies where we're like, where they feel like the Dwarven Forge, but like for a different part of the industry.
Yep.
Was
I love
great.
Eldritch Foundry and Die Hard Dice and Vorpal Board are all just such wonderful folks to work with.
I could see the giveaways being a surprise, but knowing that there's something to be unlocked here is pretty epic. Yeah, I think that was the thing, is that we were very open about, we weren't trying to like be like diegetic or like in the world so much. Like it was very meta. It was very
there are 100 streams that you can watch if you want to see some like serious D&D that's, you know, with 40 hours of crafted backstories and all this stuff. Like there's plenty of channels for that. This was like a Japanese game show or something. This was like this is not that experience.
Amy says her favorite rooms were Rabbit Burners and the Forest. Not to stress Nate, but having a Build of the Month live game stream would be fun if we have to play on it every month.
It would be.
I did sort of wish that we could choose to only participate in certain giveaways. That's fair. I was trying to think of a way that we could do that.
Like,
but
it would have
taken
3 or something.
It would have taken so much more time to set up individual.
Yeah.
Look, we had so many, and to set up an individual.
Well, plus you want everybody to just be able to.
Like we already had so much going on that to set up individual things would have been a long time.
So here's
I guess what I could say is I guess we should have said like if you win something and you don't want to get that one, you can like pass on it and we can roll that one again or something. Maybe.
But they don't enter it if you don't want it.
Well, the problem is because we were giving away all of them at once.
Right,
like,
you did hoops. You might have wanted the dice, but you got the mini.
Yeah,
or whatever.
and I couldn't really think of a way that we could have people only put in for certain giveaways.
If the biggest complaint is people couldn't pinpoint the giveaway they hope to get, like we could live with that. If that's
run a community game on some of them, maybe not on Twitch, but in the Discord at least. That'd be interesting.
So here's my big question. If we're going to do something like this again, what are the interactive bits that worked best? Like, what did people enjoy the most in terms of interactivity? You know, because what we were, you know, I said my focus group of one, Grayson, said he really enjoyed. Like he was accruing channel points by watching and like actively spending them to try and get everybody through the rooms, and that really enjoyed that. Did people like spending the channel points to? I mean, they needed it. Like literally, it got to the point where like every die roll had luck or inspiration because it was so absurd.
The funny thing. So I was trying to keep it like somewhat like limited, just so people didn't like spam so many points. Mostly it was because when people like do buy things, it puts stuff in the chat. So I didn't want people to be able to just completely fill the chat to the point where I couldn't see suggestions and stuff. But I would open it back up. Topulus's rolls were going so bad that night that he wound up getting. I put a 10 inspiration limit to start with. He ended up getting 31 inspirations throughout the game because they kept going like we have to just keep opening it up for Topulus because like he needs all of these.
Yeah. Well, so what did people enjoy? Like what interactive things? So we had votes. We had votes on stuff like what accent is Chris going to use. We had supply some insults. We had buy them inspiration and luck. What else did we have? What were the other interactive? I can't even. It's all weird.
Buying them extra time.
Oh, buying time. That was huge.
That was really big.
That was huge.
For some of the rooms. Like they needed it.
Didn't we go into extra time in every room?
Not in every room.
Oh, good.
The Fae room, the one with Boston accent did not. We did that one. That was
my favorite.
I think there were a couple others where they did it in time. I think Disco, they ended up doing it like right on the buzzer.
Or right on the So did people enjoy the interactivity? Was there anything else you would do, other interactivity opportunities, or were there any that were terrible?
You could insert spells or special weapons. The problem was that, we decided to lay off of combat for the most part. Otherwise, I would have had more combat-centric options in there as well. But one of the things we decided early on was we had so many rooms that we couldn't really spend time on combat in most of them, because combat is where things start to slow down.
And the players are really smart. Like in that first room, they're like, we're not even going to engage with the undead. Like they attacked the undead minotaur, but left the spirit alone because they're like, we're on a mission to get out. Like they were smart about how they. Man, in the Dwemer workshop, when the golems started rolling in, and Topulus was at the forge, they immediately just boom, form the shield wall, do the thing.
That's what's funny is
awesome.
Yeah, after talking to the players and after like deciding what was going to happen in the room, like when we were deciding what was going to happen, it's like, okay, so hopefully they'll do this, and then like we were talking about how like they all happened to go to the parts of the boss room that they needed to go to.
It was awesome. Literally, when we got to the boss room, there was a custom weapon for each of them in one of the quadrants, and they self-selected to the quadrants that had their thing. Like I didn't even have to like change it on the fly, like which I obviously would have done, but it was like they were all like it was right there. It's like like what are the chances?
I think the inputs would have been better submitted before the game was too chaotic mid-game. I was worried about doing it before the game because I didn't want people to come to the game and then feel like they've missed out on being able to participate.
Yeah, you wanted it to feel live. Like which ones were?
The only ones that the suggestions that we took mid-game were Rabbit's Insults, which we did a couple like.
We did that in, like, might have been the weakest link
because we also had the break coming. I also don't know if that one was as fun of a suggestion as what we got.
Oh, the drink names.
The drink names.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
How did you do that? It was just people could suggest a name.
Yeah, just in chat, I would say like, "Hey, can we get some suggestions for this?" And then I just looked at it and put a list of them in a notepad. Can I trade channel points for Bitcoin or Dwarven Forge store credit?
Cryptocurrency.
You thought you changed the weapon to wherever we went? No, we planned all of your individual weapons in specific areas.
Literally had them there. And
you all literally, with the exception of Topulus going to where the dungeon was first, which was fine. Yeah. You guys actually went to the quadrants where we had planned like the weapons that were meant for your characters.
They literally would have planted there like Garrett, like he had to Gygax had to deliver the Gygax. Like that, and he was going to be into the Lady of the Lake, and then like the Dragon Lance and the thing, and the Dwarf Cannonball. Like it was literally had planned them like that, and would have adjusted if it admitted, but it was a miracle. Like you guys were like in on the joke. It was didn't even make sense. In fact, you can watch the replay of the making of where we laid it out.
Wargaming Recon's here. He's saying he just got a promotion and raise at work.
Woohoo!
So congratulations!
Congrats.
Welcome to the stream. You wondering if they were put on their flight? Yeah, no, they were not. We'd love to see channel points used to give the bad NPCs a name. We talked about naming NPCs, but we ended up not having
We didn't have really any named.
We ended up not having any that were named.
That's a fun thing to do. Like
I feel like in a game where we do have less rooms and we're able to flesh out each room more, it'll open up more opportunities.
Well, what else would you guys like the opportunity to do with channel points? Like, what else would be fun way to influence the game? Fun curveballs to throw.
Also, a couple people are still confused about channel points and how they get used, which I understand. I didn't understand them for a while.
I heard there's a hype train.
The hype train is mostly unrelated to the channel points. I tried to explain it at the beginning of the game, but yeah, like how do we?
Don't you shovel channel points into the hype train to get it started?
No, they want you to shovel bits. They want you to shovel the ones that you actually pay money for into the hype train. Is the thing. You like the accent voting? Yeah, thanks for picking thanks for picking the one that I thought was a throw. The Boston accent I put in there was a throwaway because I was like, nobody's gonna be interested in this, but I needed a fourth option.
So good. That was
oh,
it's so fun.
I like that we were part of the riddle. Is that the Fairy Queen riddle? So the Fairy Queen in the rabbit's room showed up a lot. I think Austin said he liked the boss room a lot, and he said he wants to get a commission of the final blows on the worm, like commission an artist to draw that stuff.
That'd be awesome.
Which could be interesting.
Yeah.
Who knew Boston was in Brooklyn?
Rachel Denton Tellinger on Twitter. She did a great job on. She did art for me for the Dungeon Dudes game I played. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Hey, Massacon just got his first vaccine shot today.
Woo!
Excellent. I am very excited for us to.
Jay's getting his next week.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's from my parents. It's little by little, making progress. What else? Are there other ways people would like to interact? Like, are there more ways that we could let people interact with the game? Because to me, that's what's kind of cool. If you're watching it live, let's take advantage of the live and like have people be in the thing. Like that was, I don't know. Conceptually, it was fun.
Maybe next time I can prep a document for the chat that has a breakdown of channel points and all the ways they can interact in it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I explained at the top of the game, but like we can't stop the stream to explain it every time somebody comes in.
No, but you could have a menu. Like here's the breakdown of what we. Yeah.
We can just have a command, and then other people, when somebody new comes in, they can just link into that real quick, and so then it doesn't take up the chat every time either.
Yeah.
Whoa! Thank you for on a hype train again. Level 3.
See?
Wow.
People start spending those channel points, Chris.
Vertex and No Time for Dudes and Subtalon and who else? There's been a lot of people are giving subs. Thank you for all of that, guys.
Were there any other suggestions on ways that we could make it interactive, fun? We may have something in the near future coming, and we'd love to lift any of the stuff that people enjoyed.
HP of the NPC, if channel can vote on HP. I would love to find ways, and that's the thing. Like if we had gotten into a game where we did go more on combat, I would like to experiment with ways that they can influence combat.
Yeah.
But even with the boss room, like we decided like we don't really want them to like be slugging it out with this. We want them to do like a cool cinematic thing. Oh. So it was less about the stats and more about just like.
Also for time.
Yeah.
But they churned out a staggering amount of damage.
Yes.
I mean the quadruple crit doesn't hurt. And it was really, and they were built to do damage. Like
it does wonders for some reason.
It was fun, yeah.
Use channel points to change LED colors.
Oh,
possibly.
We could do that. It's an easy, or people could vote, or people could vote on the color, of the thing, and we use the remote.
Spend points to affect specific rooms, such as to have different effects. Yeah, like if we do an interactive game with less rooms, so that we can customize each room to have more.
Is it full of acid or lava or poison gas or whatever, or something, or like something that's easy to change out?
I think there's stuff that we could do if we had rooms where we were going more in depth.
Yeah.
A lot of it was restricted by the fact that we had to fly through these.
Yeah. Well, that was sort of one of the original ideas, was have like a MacGuffin, like the driver in the room is chat will say what the MacGuffin is in the room, or what the treasure is, or whatever.
Is there a way to make a quick decision using points, such as influencing a die roll, without doing it through the random inspiration? So that's the thing is, so because of stream delay, it's hard to have things that. That's why most of the interaction stuff was I was asking the room before we needed it.
Well, that you planned it out, so it would be.
Literally, I had a document for me, a document for Nate, and a document for Mace that was just like, here's the stuff you need to prep when you get into a room.
It's amazing
and so for me,
how,
it was like,
how smooth it went, all things considered.
That was the thing. I just had like, hey, if you want to be able to pull off this room, you need to start asking for submissions now so that you have them in time.
No, it worked. Go Mace.
Everybody's saying bless you.
Thank you. I feel blessed. I feel blessed.
People are saying you can use channel points to like change floor effects, like lava to acid to water to stuff like that.
Potentially, if we had an easy swap
If we
out
had an
train
easy way
tray
to
or
do
something,
that,
or if we
yeah.
did it before they walked into the room.
Spell like
that's
find
fine.
familiar, which can be an NPC.
Mm.
There's
Or
always
a
like
summoning
there's always
thing
like the
or
idea of
something.
like letting them control a character. The problem is you get into combat and you get into the stream delay thing and it's like, okay, how?
But we could do things like
Yeah.
what's the the bad guy's going to summon something, and then they could vote. Is it a demon? Is it an elemental?
If
Is
we
it
had-
I don't know,
Yeah, if we had we could do a thing where
sassy
so
back talking rabbit.
yeah, so theoretically, if we had like a boss they were fighting, we could do like while the players are taking their turns, like we figure out like where everything is in the initiative order, and so while the players are going, we can be like, hey, vote for like who the monster is going to focus this turn, or we can say like, hey, which of its actions is it going to use?
Or what's its secret weapon, right? It's
yeah.
like, aha, but you haven't guessed my secret scheme. And it is, what's my secret scheme? And
Yeah, so
they've showed
that we would
it's
need
a death ray or it's a whatever,
So
it's
that
an
we would
army
need
of
that we would
kobolds.
need to prep ahead of time, but
Or we
potentially
could, if we had a menu of choices, if they're voting on 4 choices or something, and we prep all 4 of the things, and you're just like, oh, it's this. Drop
I
the
just
thing
yeah,
down.
I just mean there would need to be at least some prep for that.
Originally, we were going to have you guys voting on which rooms were going to be next, but it was too hard. Because there was stuff we needed to plan for the rooms, it was too hard to like change the order. Is that what it's going to be kind of fun of like not knowing where you're going to go next?
Maybe have a lair action that's decided while the rest of the round of combat's going. Yeah, I think it's the best thing. Is
Rare
if,
action
if
is
you
a
have
fun, yeah.
if you have a monster, I think the best thing
Yeah.
is for them to vote on what the boss is going to do while the players are taking their turns. That should be enough time.
Yep.
If you're talking about 3 players going, you should
Well,
be
if
able to
you
you should
start
be able
it-
to
if
run a
it's-
poll for 3 minutes and
You
get
already
your,
have it happen on initiative order 1,
yeah.
and 3 or 4 players and a monster, and you start voting at the top of the round or whatever. That's a fun.
Oh, this is interesting. We could potentially do a stream where the chat makes characters for people. Stream character creation. People can use points to alter the player's choices. Could be funny. And the player has to be cool with it.
The hard part, the hard part is knowing, like, you need some time to know your character. Like,
Yeah, I think that'd be a stream that would happen before the
Yeah.
game. It would be it'd have to be at least a day or 2 before.
I just feel bad. Like, I don't know. Like a game like this, it would be really hard. Like we already dragging these guys through a hell of a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
Like to then also have all these weird character choices sort of foisted upon them seems tough. Like as a player.
This mixture between, okay, Angered Ogre and this says, what about a random spell effect? Like we have a limited list to choose from to help or hinder the players. And I'm just like, oh, I like it, like wild magic effect.
Yeah,
what
wild
if the
magic.
chat controls like the wild magic table?
That would be cool.
Like you put them in an
That'd be
area where
cool.
like magic's unstable.
Yep.
So anytime they cast a spell, it's like, all right, chat.
Or anytime they do a whatever or something like yeah.
And then they can vote for what they think would be most interesting to see go off in that.
every
moment.
round there's a constant surge is happening every round. There's a new
They're
thing
near some
happening. It's
place
just,
of power
something's straying out, and there's going to be something happening, and they can vote on what the effect is each round or something.
In a longer game, you could have people vote on loot. That's a good point.
Yeah, that'd be a campaign. That'd be a fun campaign. thing.
Dude, a community-driven, persistent campaign would be fascinating.
That's exhausting.
It wouldn't have to be like every week.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
like,
but that
like
would be a really cool.
a game a month or something.
Yeah. Although I feel like that could also quickly go off the rails. If it,
Sure, but like, who wants
yeah.
to be on the rails?
Yeah. I live my life by the rules.
Community-built characters would be fun. Give the players the characters an hour before the game to quickly figure them out. Would be fun if the players were willing. It'd be a fun experiment.
Yeah.
It's something we'd want to try once.
on the player,
I wouldn't want
yeah.
to combine it with the persistent campaign thing unless I'd want to try it out in like a one-shot first just to see how it flies.
So here's a big question: is if we were going to do this sort of thing regularly, what would be a brand name for this kind of interactive?
This like
Interactive
modular
experience.
gaming.
The modular module, right? Like what's
Yeah.
this kind of highly interactive, community-driven style live gaming? Like what do we call it? What's the name for it? We got to give it a label.
Give every member a deck of many things.
The what?
He says to give every member a deck of many things.
Oh, they get to choose the card. The deck, the chat gets to choose the card. That's fun.
Modular adventuring company. Modular modules sounds good. Community gaming. The Dwarven Army. Forge the game.
Forge the game.
D&D crowd control. That makes sense. Well, crowd control is like a whole subgenre of streams that people do, where it's usually when people are like playing a video game, and chat can influence like what's happening in the game. They literally like use programming so that just by typing stuff in chat, you make things happen in the game. It's fascinating.
Really?
We couldn't.
Wow.
Since we're not robots, we couldn't do that exact thing. But kind of what we did was like some form of tabletop crowd control. Is kind of what we did last week.
I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah, it's a fascinating
crowd control.
It's a fascinating subgenre. Doofing? No rabbit.
Doofing.
Forge the game is nice. The Dwarven World Forge.
Dwarven World
Community helps build the world for the persistent campaign. We haven't talked about like the world we built for our games much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool ideas in there.
There are.
The gang gets a modular boat. The game.
Was that Topulus suggesting we call it a modular boat?
Yeah, that is Topulus. Yes.
This is the best.
Vorpal could put crowd control into dice rolls. Oh man.
Oof.
I don't know if I would want to ask.
Well, there's that 8-second delay or whatever.
Hey, here's some more programming for you guys to pick up.
Dad.
Work crowd control into your platform. Crowdsource gaming, Dwarven Folly.
Dwarven Folly.
Twitch plays Dwarven Forge. I need to tell you about Twitch plays Pokemon at some point, because that was the first huge example of crowd control. It was literally a Pokemon emulator running, and the chat would just like type down, up, A, B, and so everybody's like spamming it. And it took them months, but eventually they managed to beat Pokemon with just thousands of people in chat spamming button directions.
The game was just going nonstop for months.
Game's just going nonstop.
The stream just kept going.
It's so all
little by little, like they were moving. Wow.
And so all the Pokemon are. It's like all the Pokemon are named things like and oh man, and so they would keep accidentally like letting go of like really big Pokemon and stuff, and so like everything about it was like complete chaos. And this whole thing about praising the Helix fossil was a big deal because they got the. There's so much to tell you about. It was a fascinating cultural phenomenon.
I can live in ignorance of this one. I'm okay.
No, but this is one of those things that this is one of the things that put Twitch on the map. You don't understand. Huh. Like this was a massive cultural phenomenon when it happened, like 5 years ago, something like that.
Huh. Right.
It's a.
Twitch plays Pokemon.
Utter chaos.
Yeah.
Dwarvopoly.
Controlled chaos.
Wu-Tang Clan forged the children. I know that sounds boring, but I'm very much an on-the-rails kind of guy.
Yeah, this is...
He has risen. Praise Lord Helix. Man, it's been tons of knockoff Twitch plays too. Yeah, what was the Fish Plays Pokemon? They had one where the camera was just looking at a fish tank, and depending on where the fish were in the tank, it put in different button commands.
Oh man!
So like every 20 seconds, it looked at where the fish were, and then like moved based off of that. It's fascinating.
What else? Do you have questions about the game that we didn't talk about, or about the whole lead up? Right? Is there anything for next year people would like to see us?
There was one comment that I thought was interesting. They said that they would love to see the entire building process for like the games we did for Wildlands. Like when we do like a game that isn't like that massive thing, like having that transparent of a build up for it. I think the main thing is like with those games, like we're like revealing pieces you guys haven't seen before and stuff like that. So we want to keep some of it secret.
So did people like seeing the process? Like is that it's too bad we because we did a lot. When did we did our writer's room, was it Friday?
The writer's room?
When you and I, like after we had all the stuff from Twitch, when the heck was it? Was it Friday that we just sort of like blasted through what's going to happen in each thing, and we kind of broke?
That morning, Thursday night. First off, like we'd been planning to do a meeting on Thursday, but then things were so slammed with like our actual job that we talked a little bit Thursday night, where I was like, "Hey, I had some ideas regarding this," and then Friday morning we both came in like early.
It went down the list quick.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's interesting for people, like...
Because I know there were some things, like, figuring out exactly how to pull off the disco room was something that, like, took us a bit to, like, really figure out.
It needed one more complication, but we didn't get there. But it worked for what it was. Yeah.
Man.
So is that interesting to people, like, seeing the madcap process? We could... I don't know how we would do a. I guess the problem is some of this stuff like
Dwarvenites.
we couldn't do it like we couldn't do a stream and be like wildly interactive, but we could potentially just like, turn on the camera and mic and talk about a thing like, talk as if the audience wasn't there and like crack a thing if people wanted to watch that. I don't know if it's.
You're talking about like for like the.
You're talking about the sort of the building, the writing process, or the building, or the planning, or the whatever.
It is true because I mean those are meetings that happen here. Like it's like with the Wildlands game regarding. Yeah, because with the one with the shifting between the Fae and the Shadowfell, we had a very long conversation about like how do we show off this concept.
Yeah. But does that ruin the fun for you? Like, do you guys want to know? Like, those games we very much view as like as a fun reveal. It's like a Christmas morning thing. Do you want to see what all your presents are before they're wrapped for Christmas morning? Is that like?
That is a good point. Like with this, like.
I don't know. I'm not against it. I just don't want to ruin like. And then will it spoil it for other people? Will they put it on the Discord or forums? And then someone's like, well, I don't know. Like.
Yeah, because like the thing with this is like we weren't the only people like it had to be secret from this time was the players.
Yeah.
Which was going on an honor system that they weren't going to spoil it for themselves because that would have ruined the fun for themselves if they spoiled it.
Well, and here's the question too: is how much did it deviate? What you guys saw on the stream, how much did it deviate from what we'd kicked around on Wednesday? Like, because it's, I don't know, it all kind of blurs into a thing. I'm curious what it was like. Was it still fun, or was it more fun to watch because you knew what was happening? What?
Jagos is saying, if y'all share more of the process, we need to join the company. At that point, you guys are basically just free labor for us. Some behind the scenes is good. Hearing how other people do the writing process for games gives me good ideas for my own games. Well, after the Wyverstone game, we did a deconstruction where we kind of talked about it, and I think after the fact,
yeah, that's not nuts.
It's cool if we could do better documentation of the game after the fact. I think,
yeah,
if nothing else,
because we didn't have a Kickstarter going on or anything.
Yeah.
Huh.
Plus, also, like I feel like now that we've done the streaming every day thing, and also. I feel like we are continuously getting better at actually being rounded out and learning how to cover our bases before it's too late.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can be more structured going into the next one.
But I'm in like if people are interested in process, I'm very into process. Like I don't know if I have a good quote unquote writing process. I don't even know if you call it, but I don't know. Like, but
well,
I'm fascinated by process and always looking for a better way to do things.
I guess the thing is
it's helpful.
Like, the games that we're putting in front of these guys, generally speaking, don't have the same focus and the same intention as the games that they'd be playing at home.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't really done...
But at the end of the day, it's still, like, the things you're thinking about, even if it's like, okay, this is it has to be a 15-minute room,
mm-hmm.
How do we think? We're still thinking about the same fundamentals of storytelling and entertainment that you are in your home game. It just, you have a lot more time to do it in your home game. But it was like, it's still fundamentally like, we'd say a thing like, well, do we that? And we're like, but it's no fun if they just have to, like, roll a saving throw that doesn't give them any agency. Like, it's still trying to figure out how to give players agency and challenge them and, give them things that are interesting things and interesting, meaningful choices, all within 15 minutes with a Boston accent. But I don't know, we could...
A lot of people are saying they want to see us make the build of the month be a playable thing, like doing some kind of playable thing with the build of the month, which I think the problem with that is just time. Not everything with us has to be interactive. We can just watch.
I would like to. It would be fun to run a thing for the Bill Month. Also, it's just it's time. Like, it's time. We have so much going on. I don't understand.
If we had like a significant portion of the company that was just devoted to these streams, that'd be one thing.
Yeah.
But
it would be fun if I didn't have to design another Kickstarter. I would love to.
Yeah,
just run a game every month. Like spend the whole month prepping a build in the month. Like do the build. We could do the planning sessions. Do do a couple of writing sessions. Do a thing. Like do whatever the prep for the minis is for the prep for the whatever. Like here's what we need at the table. Here are the gags we're gonna do. Here, like we could do a whole. It would be fun, but. Hey, I don't think I have the time, but maybe there's a special.
I'm the closest thing we have to somebody whose time is just devoted to Twitch, and even I'm not actually only devoted to Twitch.
No. Well, that was, but we are speaking of process. we're gonna start bringing in at some point some other guests to talk about their DM prep process. Right, that was one of my favorite things. We were talking with Joe Manganiello during Wildlands, was talking about his prep for gaming, and that stuff is super interesting to me. So we will bring some folks in to talk about their prep process, particularly when it also revolves around terrain. That was an interesting. So that was during the stream yesterday. Somebody asked, like, I had like a big chunk of the castle built, and they were like, "Well, how do you have all this castle built if you don't know what the story is?"
Your process is to make the build, and then
I was like, "Well, I can write to anything. Like, I need to know what are my limitations. Like, that's the like and then I tweak the build. Like, we put the monologue balcony, and we'll maybe put an acid pit. We'll tweak the build based on a thing. But like, I need to know what my constraints are. You can write to anything. Like, you just need to know what where the guardrails. But they were like just incredulous. They're like, "What are you doing with this castle? You can't have." It's like, Uh-huh.
So,
because otherwise, if I'd written it first, the castle would fill the whole table. Like, I would, I'd still be building the thing, because it would be 10 feet long. It would have like 9 different things. There'd be like dragon balconies that swing off. It would be like a crisscrossing layer of 10 bridges and all. I'm like, we can't like. That's why we build it first, and then I'll write to it.
Well, it's already 7:50.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we should probably wrap this up. But man, I feel like we could just do the whole stream talking about this.
Probably.
Got a couple questions to answer real quick.
Should we? And we should do the giveaway.
Yes.
We'll answer some questions. Do the giveaway. Fan build. Go into castles. So what are the questions?
This is one we get fairly often. Will we ever offer Build of the Month in unpainted? The problem is it depends on stock. The thing is that Build of the Month is made up of sets that we currently have in stock in the web store. It's very rare that we have. So we put those sets together based on how much painted stock there is. It's very rare that we have a comparable amount of unpainted stock in the same sets.
But it's certainly keep asking about it, because we can. Some of them might work. We could potentially do it depending on what we have.
Yeah.
This one, the stock on castles, the variance between painted and unpainted is crazy. And also, just in general, we tend to sell, something like roughly like 80% painted to 20% unpainted. So generally, we always focus our time on painted because it's the lion's share of what we're moving. But let me say, keep asking about it, because maybe we can, depending on the month, we can. This one's going to be hard because I think we're going to end up with, there's going to be 12 sets in this thing or something. But
let's see.
We like these questions.
People are asking if there are any updates about Wildlands and its shipping. Mako saying the update on Wildlands is that it was funded.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be late, is my guess. But we're hitting a couple of things. What's killing us? The fogger. The fogger's just murdering us right now. Like, you can't get we're having trouble. Fluid dynamics are a thing. Physics is not our friend. Geometry, our friend. Physics, not our friend. But a double whammy of getting the fog out of all the ports, like on the spore claw. Condensation is killing us. Eli's resculpting the fissure in the Oblivion Nexus right now because we couldn't get the fog. Fog wasn't going through. We had Toby designed these elaborate 3 different ports that would hopefully maintain the pressure, and it's just we're just having a hard time. That the fog is just murdering us. But if it works, we're also completely retooling the fog machine, which is a really costly mistake or change. But we're trying. I don't know how it's all going to work. We're trying to make it a lot better based on this extensive testing. And I don't know. So that's been killing us. And what was the other thing that was killing us? There's another piece that was the boat. Oh.
Yeah, the boat prototypes weren't fitting together right or something.
The boats. The problem is we have a boat that works, so we should be able to make another boat that works. But getting the other boat to work with the first boat, they're just crossing the streams. It's we're getting there, but we're millimeters away. But it's really been. Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part, right? Is it's literally a game of millimeters where it's great, we need this to be 2 millimeters thinner, we think. And then you
Yeah.
get that, and you're like, okay, no, it's
But
causing
it
an issue on that
affects
side.
so then it has to just make sure it's well so we have a couple of trouble pieces, a couple of bits, but it's cooking along. We'll send our next update out. It's March already, isn't it? So we'll send our next out in a couple of weeks. We got I think we have finalized Horizon dice. We just got a new sample on I'll show it next week. The forest Horizon die. We got a new sample. We changed the brown,
But all things considered, it's not looking like...
all the stuff that we've seen looks fantastic, and we're definitely hitting a couple of trouble bits, but we're getting there. It's gonna be fantastic when it happens. What I think is gonna happen is we'll send a first wave out on time, and then a second wave out a few months later.
and that'll have the pieces that were like...
Yeah. The problem is the stuff is strewn to the high. Like, I don't know how it's. I don't know. That's a problem for June. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then we'll also. I think we should. We'll definitely do a cities update next week. We can sort of.
Next week we'll do KSA?
Yeah, because that's also evolving. We're hitting some walls. The wall of no from the factory, and it's for the first time ever we've really been.
Hitting the walls or hitting the floors?
Oh, all of it. we've been involving them more in the development process to just make sure things work before we find out the hard way too late. So then suddenly it means we get to find out early that things don't work. So, which is better.
Honestly is better.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some things are already changing, but because that's also part of the fun is seeing the evolution.
How about the sci-fi set? We're planning to do a sci-fi episode soon as well.
Yes. When?
Touching on that.
I don't know.
We need to, we'll figure out the schedule.
We will talk about sci-fi. We have not forgotten it.
We have like 4 episodes we want to do, but we're like, we need time to prep for all of these. So that's why we're doing this one tonight.
The Fix It episode.
Any idea on the cost to buy the new build of the month? The one that goes up tomorrow is
$404.
$404
with a
I think it's
bonus gift card, $40 gift card. 404
40
painted.
or 45?
40.
40. Okay.
And it has sewer walls, the 3 4x8 acid terrain trays, the 12x12 water terrain tray, basic cavern, crooked cavern, alchemy supplies, 2-headed croc. I think there's one other banks, stone banks. Is there one other set in there? Where did the rising walls come from? Are those crooked? Oh, something like that. But it's a good one. But it'll go up tomorrow.
Any news on restocks? We'll have news on restocks soon. The factory is getting back from Chinese New Year now, so we can start working out the restock schedule for the year.
It's months away though before it rolls in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Underdoom coming soon.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that.
We've been trying to listen to. I've been keeping an ear out, trying to see what sets it is that people are wanting restocked the most. So we've got a list of the things we want to ask for.
Yep.
We're expanding the Cavern's core sets to include Underdoom in the core.
I think we're doing Crooked Cavern in Ice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No, we'll
get confirmation on that, but yeah.
And what were the other questions before we do giveaway and fan build?
Some questions specifically about KS8 that will be better answered next week.
Yes.
So we'll
write them
worry
down.
about them then. I think that's all the huge ones.
All right.
Please restock the painted The Dwarven Forge. I'm not sure what that pack's looking like, but
It's the Dwarven Forge.
Sure, but I mean, like, I don't know, like, what's...
Oh, I don't know. We were low on it, and
people are
Jay
saying Cave
didn't
Cliffs.
want to restock it.
People are saying Cave Cliffs.
Yeah, Cave Cliffs are. I wish I had more.
I've been hearing it come up quite a bit.
They're
Question: what cheaper castle set should I buy now? Whether or not I'd like April's build of the month. Oh, should I buy to know whether or not? So what's a good starter castle? I guess. Which actually, why don't we talk about that?
Oh yeah.
Why don't we talk about that after this?
That's a great way to. Yeah.
Because after this giveaway and the fan build, it's gonna be all castles, baby.
Yeah. So I'm gonna fill it with water. Tell them the giveaway news.
The giveaway news. Oh, right.
We got giveaway news.
So
it's
we've got an update to the giveaway thing that I think you'll all be happy with because it's literally only an improvement for both you guys and us. As you know, we've been giving away like a starter dungeon or a basic caverns core most of the time. What we're going to be doing now, because we can't ship outside the U.S. and all that, what we're going to be doing is now, if you are in the U.S. and you win the giveaway, you can either get a starter dungeon or a $50 gift card.
What? A $50 gift card?
A $50
So I can
gift
get
card.
anything I want from the store.
Anything worth $50 or less.
Okay. Fair.
And if you're international, if you're outside the U.S., you can win a $50 gift card. So now it doesn't matter where you are, you can still enter. You will get $50 worth of stuff.
Everybody can enter.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
no worries about that. So if you win, we'll just be like, hey, which one do you want? And yeah.
So gone are the days of being good-natured about not entering. Everybody's entering now.
It's a thing where it's like, it's better for us, it's better for them, it's better for everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
It's great.
so we'll be doing that moving forward with on the Anvil giveaways.
Yes.
Everyone's pointing out, that's more competition for Six. Now he has to compete with the rest of the world.
Oh, poor Sig.
So,
we should make a at next year's anniversary stream.
Mm-hmm.
If Six hasn't won anything by then, we have to do something special.
if he goes a whole year without winning a giveaway, another year without winning a giveaway.
Yes, we're gonna have to do something for him.
His
$6 gift card.
He's the one we'll throw a bunch of insults at.
We'll have to do something for Six. If he hasn't won anything in a year, for next 2 years, 2 years running, it'll be a 2-year anniversary.
People are saying when Six hasn't won, you mean? Dude, the day that Six eventually wins a giveaway, we're gonna have to stop the entire stream just to.
We're just gonna have to double it, or so it's gonna be we're gonna start a hype train right then and there.
Yeah. Send him an empty box.
Oh.
All right. Giveaway word. What's a good little castle term?
6.
6
for the win. Barbican.
Barbican.
It's nice and easy to spell.
Barbican. BARBICAN. I'm going to post it in the chat myself.
Maybe you'll win. You can
spell it like this. Barbican. Barbican. Just copy paste it from somebody else that's written it. If you don't know how to spell Barbican, this is not a common.
It's a classic word.
What kind of? Yeah, like when they're playing chess with rocks back in the Stone Ages. Like what?
Rock.
Nobody uses Barbican anymore.
If you're talking about a castle, you're absolutely going to say it. Barbican will come up right after
How often are people talking about Barbicans?
Every time I talk about a castle, I have to say Barbican.
Because you
or
built,
Bartizan.
Because a Barbican is a key part of the castle set that you made.
Well, because it's the classic part of a castle. What is it? If all I care about in a castle is the keep and the Barbican, nothing else, everything else is dead to me.
I don't think that many people are that knowledgeable about castles.
Okay, who doesn't know what a Barbican is? Say it in the chat.
Nate has a good point. Like, sure, wargamers and people who are very specifically into this hobby, you're gonna know what a Barbican is. But like, Cryptoc doesn't know what it is. Well, Hoppy doesn't know what it is. Lady Dali doesn't know what it is. Okay. Great mistake. See? There you go. Odin Forge has never heard of it, or has never spelled it until now.
Never spelled it, but he's heard it. He's spoken it.
I think
he says Prost. Prost.
It's specifically because a Barbican is a featured part of our castle set, and if you weren't involved in that, the average person would not hear Barbican come up in their lifetime these days.
How about matriculated battlements? Would that come up?
No. Battlement, sure.
Yeah.
Battlement is more commonly used.
Matriculation is
drawbridge, moat, like all that stuff. A Barbican is a very specific thing that people would like. If people looked at a Barbican, they would have other words for it.
There's a lot of what were the other weird? Bartizan. There's a couple of really good.
Matriculations.
You know who knows?
Rabbit's calling people a bunch of Luddites. Okay, but Rabbit, you're all about castles.
Rabbit lives next to a castle. He can literally see a castle from his house.
Okay, and that's fair. Like people in the UK
cheating.
and Germany and stuff who literally like live in areas where they still have castles. That's cheating. Point is, let's go to the fan build.
Okay, yes.
Today's fan build comes from. I'm so upset. Today's fan build comes from Minotaur Quest.
They. I don't know if it's a he or a they, or a she or a them.
Me either, honestly. I'm not sure if they're watching today.
They posted this yesterday in response to the building of the building.
Yeah, after watching building of the so they posted this. I thought it was a nice little.
The front photo with the.
I have all of them. It should be. So they posted like 6 pictures in the Discord. And they're all here.
This was brilliant. So they took the transition terrain trays, the Aranthor to forest transition terrain trays, and put them in the front. Wait, there should be. Where's the one? There's 4 photos. There's one that has the.
Why don't I go ahead and do this to make it easier to see?
So they used them to make a road in the front. It was awesome. There it is. There it is. There it is. Look at that. Can you pause it?
I can't. I can bring up that individual
Unfold the
image.
stream.
So you're
It'll
talking
do
about
it.
how they... Yeah, let me...
That's so like they took the transition train trays and put them. I
Apparently
never
it
thought
did
of it.
pause.
It's brilliant, and made a road out of it. It's just awesome.
Yeah. So I thought it was a cool little thing. Like
Yeah.
it goes
And
into
then
a town
transition
square.
from terrain trays into dungeon pieces for the inside, and it's just an awesome build.
And I think what I like about it too is it's a thing where it's like like you don't need to make a full castle for castles to be useful. Like the idea of like having a gate, because I think this is a
way
scenario.
to take the air out of my build of the month.
Okay. No, but you can, and
no,
it's
true.
and it's interesting when you do. But like
You know who else? DW? Who was it? Somebody also posted just like a really simple facade in response to a thing. This one was cool. Also, there were undead hidden inside or something. You said, and like
I said there was a bunch of undead inside the town.
Who is it?
I think it's the thing is I think the people who are into our castle sets tend to be very into our castle sets.
dude, because they're awesome.
And then I think a lot of people are very intimidated by them. They're kind of a dark horse and an outlier among the rest of our sets, and I think that's why it'd be interesting to talk about.
DW posted a really simple.
DW is really big on them. Rabbit Burner's really
Just
big
like
on them.
it was like 8 pieces, and it made like you can't see it.
We can put it on the other cam.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. So yeah, we set this up for special reasons today. You guys will see why soon.
Yeah, that's like a long wall.
Can you
with a
estimate how
couple
much?
walls.
Oh.
How much the build a month is? I don't know yet.
No, I know how much you think that fan build that we just looked at would cost.
Oh, look back at it.
Let's see. That's
I was so
that's
excited to see
a
that.
couple buildings.
Postern Gate, which is like $300, 2 square corner towers, which are $250 or something. So it's 1,000 in castles. It's a hamlet or hamlet and a half. A bunch of dungeon pieces, some terrain trays, some ruins, Aranthor set, modular boat.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it is? It's encounter 1 from Plaguestone.
Are you talking about the fan build or
Yeah.
DWs?
I'm looking at the fan build.
Cool.
It's encounter 1 plus some.
Oh, it is, huh?
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. Yeah, it's the problem is it's cherry picked from stuff from a bunch of sets.
Yeah, it's hard to put together. But just like at a rough estimate, some people are saying, "Wow, it's all
$2,000.
over the place. $1,000, $2,500, $3,500."
25 is probably closer, maybe less.
So you got some Aranthor, you've got some Tudor and stone buildings.
There's dungeon floors, there's Aranthor floors, there's probably 2 hamlets or a hamlet and a half. There's a full Aranthor set at least. There's at least 1 set of ruins. There's 2 square corner towers and a postern gate. There's the floors from Encounter 1 of Plaguestone.
People seem to be
There's
thinking
a Wicked
around.
City.
People seem to be thinking around 2K 25.
Yeah.
You know.
Probably, but it's spread out over a bunch of sets, so it's like it might even be only 2K, but you have to get 4K worth of sets to get the 2K worth of pieces that are used in it.
Yeah.
But it's a really great build.
Yeah.
Also, I was tickled that they were inspired. Like they were like, oh, it's fun to build with castles and like jam this thing out. It's awesome. That's what we're hoping to do is remind people it's fun to build with these things. And build with them.
So let's roll this giveaway and then get into castles. Drosy X. Congratulations, Drosy X. I will message you on here and get your email, and and then I'll ask you like if you want a gift card or a starter dungeon, and we will get that worked out.
Exciting.
And then, so castles.
Do you know what that's from?
Oh, Wayne's World?
Okay.
Yeah. I love Wayne's. Dude, Wayne's World's like one of my favorite movies.
It was an SNL skit.
Although they do like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like the movie is like
it's a good movie.
the movie's way better than the skits, honestly.
Facts. Anyway, so we're back in 2016. Actually, it started back in 2015. So Cities Kickstarter. So actually, 2014, maybe 2015. I don't know. What's a year?
After the last one?
Yeah. After the last decade, that was a year. So we did the Kickstarter for cities, and the initial idea for cities was, well, there wasn't really, like, Stefan's just like, I was gonna make a bunch of buildings, it's gonna be a city, it's gonna be all of Valoria, it's gonna be this crazy everything, and he had this plan for a castle, and it was outrageous, right? It was 8-inch long wall segments that were an inch thick, that were sawtooth designs, so you could stack things in. It was going to be an absolute fortune, and it wasn't wildly modular, and it was half baked. But he had the vision for a castle, but he didn't quite know how to get there. But he had this thing, and he started trying to do it, and it was all over the place. So I convinced him to table the castle. I'm like, listen, Stefan, this isn't going to work, but I promise you, I will help you build the greatest modular castle system in the world. But you put this thing aside, just focus on the city, because you already bitten off more than you can chew with the city. Because, I mean, what's going on for roofs? What's going on for streets? What's going on inside these buildings? How do these buildings even work? What's going on? There was so much stuff that hadn't been figured out in the city. He was already thinking about crazy towers and parapets and whatever. So I convinced him to table castles and focus on cities. And cities were great. It was a good, there was still so much to do. Once again, that's why we're going back to cities. There's still so much work to do. And it was, it just let the focus on cities work. So we had, after that, so then I started, sort of as the dust was settling on KS3, I was like, all right, I gotta get ahead of this castle before Stefan starts chasing this crazy design. I gotta, because he knows if you show him something cool, he's like, oh, that is better. He would throw his thing aside if there was a better option. So I just had to, I'm like, I gotta show him better options. So I started messing around with some castle ideas and had, actually, let's go to the books. We'll show these things.
Cool.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about the history, then about what happened during the Kickstarter, and then some learnings. So these were I've got two of them. This was a prolific time. These were my little design books back from Dwarven Forge Kickstarter 4. Of course, it's Codex 1. It couldn't be just book 1 or whatever.
It's no grimoire, but it's
not. So, and I had some dungeon notes in here. I don't know why, but all right. So this is dungeons. Okay, so this was the first plan for castles. Can we see this? Yeah, was hollow walls, because I was like, these things have to be at least 4 inches tall. They've got to be at least 2 inches thick, and they're going to cost a fortune. Let's make them hollow. And the thought was the bottom could have a dungeon texture, and you could flip it down and then use it as you could put a skin on the side instead of it being a wall skin. It could be a floor, and it could be an elevation platform. This is was the genesis of the elevation platform, which happened a year later. But the idea was there could be different, there could be different skins we could put on the same frame, and then swap them out and whatever. That's the original idea. And then we already had these battlements. You just pop on the top, and it should be easy and fast and good, right? I kind of wish we'd done this because it was simpler. And then I was kicking around these things where and the towers were going to be city builder style towers. So it was taking the same idea of a floor with a pegged thing, and just put basically have curved city builder style pegs and drop. Where are the battlements? Hang on. I think I drew that somewhere else. No, siege engines. Oh, look at this was look at this. This was the bridge that ended up in KS6. Genesis that was here in Castles.
It's amazing how long some of these ideas stew for a while before they actually make it to production.
Okay, so then this is, all right. So then this was, this is how it's official. Stefan meeting 9/23/15. So this was it. Here we have it. This was it. We had a meeting in a bar, and this is the important notes we walked away with. So Stefan was obsessed with putting miniatures inside the wall. He's like, why are we going to have all this dead space that you can't use? And he's right to some degree. If you're going to fill up all the table, all this stuff, there is a lot of dead space that you're not utilizing. And yeah, maybe it's not historically accurate and whatever, but like, fundamentally it's like, yeah, if we could get in there and game it, whatever. And I really wanted batter bases. I thought the bottom was really interesting, whatever. But there was a whole bunch of trying to figure out the heights and whatever. But fundamentally, the big challenge was like, how do we get inside the wall? So the next round of the modular wall system was born. And this is actually pretty close to what we ended up with, right? It was like, okay, we'll just take that same previous idea, but instead of a box, it's like a center thing with the skins, and it creates a wall. And then we could have all these different things. We ended up making basically just a plain wall and an arrow slit wall. We didn't end up making any of these we kind of did the damage one, but there were buttress ones. There were all these different ideas. Oh, and I was thinking you could turn the spacer sideways to do double thick and have stairs and LEDs and all this, things. I was also super obsessed with put log holes, which as soon as you think of castles, you think of put log holes, right? Chris does, right? Right? Put log holes? That's your favorite?
Barbican.
Exactly. It's a hole you put a log in when you're building the castle, and
masticated battlements.
Matriculated, yeah. You don't chew your battlements. You put it when you build around it. You have a timber that you're using to build it, and then you remove it when you're building it. But I'll show you a bit later. Hang on. Here was the city builder. I was still trying to do city builder style towers, because I thought they could play better with our existing city builder stuff. But wait, where is the? Oh, this was crazy. A wall to tower joint. Well, we're gonna find the put log holes. I came back to them because I was like, oh, battlements. Those things killed me. Those matriculations get you. Oh yeah, the cauldron and the shutter. Oh, so here we go. Put log holes. Right, there's a whole page on it because it was really important. So my theory was we could slide the little log in, and then put like a floor piece. You'd fit a 4x1 floor would fit there, and you could then also use that as a floor piece, but it would top our wall, and then we could just put battlements on top of it or whatever. And we could use it to put cool things like a dragon landing pad, a wall-mounted ballista, a grotesque waterspout, a banner, a flagpole, a hanged man. This stuff writes itself. But the cool one was it gave us room for hoarding, right? I was like, oh, we can have hoarding that we'll then attach using, because once again, in real castles, they would take the put log hole and they'd actually use that when they had to put hoarding on or whatever. But anyway, so that was the theory. But those ended up dying, and they became more complicated. What did they become? We just did the roof platforms. We ventured out to ABS. It was a whole crazy. But it's crazy. These are all these basically this was the geometry that ended up being most of our final geometry. Ooh, look at water tile people. Chew on this was the moat that never was.
A modular moat system?
Yeah, it was going to be pretty cool. And then trying to figure out second positions. We'll talk about that in a second. What else was I looking for in here?
A lot of people are saying they love the put log ideas and the hoarding and.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that we didn't.
It's like doing. We missed out on hoarding and a hanged man.
So the second version of the towers, when I figured we could put them on the outside. Oh, they were going to have the walls attached to the
modular moats and modular boats.
CBS interior walls to spruce it up. Trying to figure out sets. This is a lot of trying to figure out sets. Trying to figure out the second story of the gatehouses. Figuring out sets. Whoa. I was trying to figure out a 12-inch long ABS wall, a full foot long wall. That would have been absurd. Oh wait, we did a foot long wall. Is it a foot long? Yeah, we did it. This was the other crazy one. It was a wall that you could slot in 3 city builder walls into. That would have been, diagonal walls, which we didn't end up doing. 6-inch diameter tower we did do. The backless walls. Because, if sometimes you go into a fashion event, you don't want the back. So that was the next step, we're trying to figure out, this is why the walls got so complicated, we were like, well, what if people want to, how do we make them cheaper? These are going to be expensive. Well, if we do backless walls, then they can play in there. Because so Son still wasn't happy. He's like, well, how do I get in there? You've got these walls, but I can't get in there to get my minis. I was like, all right, well, backless walls. And we have, once again, the put logs are still there. Put log corbels. That's like the ultimate combo. And then there was going to be backless walls, and you could put arches and whatever, and then your thing. And this is basically what we ended up doing, but we did put the backs on. We'll talk about that in a second. Here's a really fun one. This is the Aranthor. This is the Aranthor Mountains. The dry moat, which then became escarpments, which then became the Aranthor Mountains. And then escarpments came back later. But this was the first pass on Aranthor. Look at that. Was actually basically the set. This ended up breaking up the 4x. But this was essentially... And the whole premise of this was, I was like, well, what are we going to build the castle on? So then it was trying to figure out the diameter of the towers and how they would fit with these pieces, and can we make a cool base for it? And then that ramp got cut in half. But yeah, fundamentally that set didn't change that much. Trying to figure out battlements. This is when the notches came. The put-log holes became notches, and they ended up as just as notches. The kids' castle.
I guess yeah. Most of the accessories you wanted to do for the put-log holes could be converted to notches.
Oh yeah, there's still plenty of stuff.
You could hang a man on a notch.
Stuff that still needed to be figured out. Still trying to figure out compositions. Inline towers. Here was the roofs. Figuring out the roofs.
All the different sizings.
I was really obsessed with trying to make a ring that we could put between the cones that had pole accessories, so you could put like cool, like decorative bits around, to like spruce up the roof more.
That'd be awesome.
Trying to figure out how they would fit and this basically this became the system. Siege engines. this is
what's at the bottom there?
This is ammunition. Boulder, Jug-O Nasty, Flaming Sphere, and Animal Carcass. And there's like a little cow with X's on its eyes and like disease. I don't know why that one didn't come to life, but we were so close. We could have had an Animal Carcass. It was LED walls. Oh, this I was regretful. I had plans for having an LED socket wall that then we could put a downlight, an LED ward that had a downlight, so it was like, like the lights people put on their outside, their gardens and their houses that are like splash the wall with color. I was going to do the same thing with LEDs to make the castles look cool, but we never ended up doing that. We ended up making the insert wall so you could put a city builder thing in there. And spans in elevation, those kind of ended up... Oh, this is the beginning of the Bartizan. Oh, then the gatehouse forever. Look at this thing. This was going to be so cool. This was going to be like an open rafter piece to join these things. Ooh, double high with CBS notches, crazy magnetic corner post. Trying to figure this thing out. The final design, not so great. Oh,
people really want the cow ammo.
Yeah, it's.
Can we work that into C2?
We could maybe. We'll see what happens. I can't make any promises. Figuring out balconies.
We can do a cow. We can do a cow and a dead cow.
This is the Bartizan again, the suspended parapet, and figuring out how to get it to CBS, and this worked. This is one of my favorite pieces of geometry. This thing is awesome.
I'm so happy you still have these books.
I have them for all. I have them for.
Do you have them for the original cities?
Maybe. Yes, I have KS3 books.
That'd be fascinating to look at.
I have them all up through. More moats and canals, trying to figure that out. Bridges, which ended up being pretty much what we ended up doing. Beveled battlements, and there's so much more we could have done with battlements that we didn't. I was trying to figure out how to do like inline matriculated battlements that then swelled out for... the inline towers still aren't fantastic, and especially corner posts. And then we started going into, I think, a bunch of city builders. Oh, the batter bases, figuring those out. That was another really cool piece of geometry. Overhang. This was basically ended up, this was like a shot, right? I did this, that's pretty much what ended up happening for those battlements. This is fun to see these more modular balcony continued. More modular balconies. Ooh, a modular railing system. Because you know what? Like none of our bridges have railings. Like we like just danger. Stained glass window. Like, cool. Yeah, the modular balconies would have been great. I mean, railings, but no railings. Ooh, good hanging. A lot of these things came to life. Nasty Spikes is one of these.
God, that's so many accessories. Hey, the gargoyles made it.
A bunch of these things. The ruined arrow slit cover, the demonic arrow slit cover, the Arvalist. The drain pipe didn't make it because I figured you could climb up.
That's actually a really cool. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Wizard sigil. Then this was the hanging accessory plan that ended up coming to fruition. Runes.
People are losing their minds, by the way.
Once you see a cow, like you can't take that back.
Well, they're like, we want to spend channel points to add pieces from the book to the next Kickstarter. People are saying,
The gatehouse. This is the floor idea.
sounds like plenty to revisit castles down the line, and that would also be a great time to do wood forts as an alternate castle style.
Yes.
That
I
actually
really
makes more
wanted
sense to do
wood forts.
palisades than the city
Yes.
revisit.
This is the Barbican plan.
Garter
Oh, the
robes.
gatehouse crests. This was how they were originally going to be hinged. Then we ended up making magnetic, which was better. More tower. Wow, this was like literally exactly what it.
The bridge.
Huh.
I love that bridge. I think it's mostly just because of that one promotional shot that was taken on the bridge, but like, I love that bridge.
Just trying to figure out how to. This one is just the badass platform.
Yeah.
The-
Wait, is that what it's called?
It literally is called badass platform. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to like put a cool. Like I wanted a cool platform to put a ballista on the top of a tower. I think that's all we have in this thing. But anyway, so. And then we got into dungeon.
Is that a flamethrower?
Yes. Well, this ended up in dungeon, right? This was the lever, the flamethrower, the bus that we needed, the manacle, the spiked walls, the runestone, portal, the weapon rack. Like almost all this stuff came to be.
Yeah, a lot of these came back.
PS5. Yeah. The floor that would have been the trap thing. Oh, and this was that I was trying to make a dungeon builder system inside the castle system. I also was trying to make an outside wall dungeon system where it was magnets and metal holding, so you could have full floors, and these were the pieces you needed, and then you could basically build anything. This is essentially the open lock system is essentially this. I don't know when they did that, but I don't know if I beat them to the punch or not. But obviously we didn't make it, so they beat us to the punch. But
I mean, that would have been 2015. Kickstarter was early 2016, so.
Yeah. That was a neat plan. Like you could make anything, and then these were going to be interior walls in the castle. But yeah, then one dungeon elevation of these ended up getting made. Almost all of them. The one by one didn't.
How much of this had you forgotten about until you saw it here?
Almost all of it, especially the cow. I'd forgotten the cow. So anyway, we had very elaborate plans, and. It was a really, really tricky. So I had all these crazy foam mocks. Oh, I should have dug back for pictures of the foam mocks. I basically put a bunch of the team. So then the team was essentially, it was mercenaries at the point. There was Nina and Aaron were around, and Toby started as like an intern in Castles because
a lot of people who are like the backbone of the company now.
Well, the story was. Stefan's ex-wife said that Ken Watanabe's nephew wanted a job or something. I don't know. It was some classic Stefan story. So everybody thought Toby was Ken Watanabe's nephew, but it's not, not at all. Toby Leverson, turns out no. But I don't know. It was like that was the rumor for ages. Like. But so he started as an intern, and here he is now. And Eli was sculpting, and Michelle was sculpting. She'd done a few pieces. She'd done a couple of pieces for cities, and now is doing a bunch of stuff for this. But I had a bunch of the mercenary team replicating these foam mocks. So I was making all these foam mocks out of stuff with magnets and metal in them to try and figure, because it was such a complicated system trying to figure out the verticality of the castle. Like you really needed, like on paper you could kind of figure it out, but I needed to build it to see if it would work, and then trying to figure these inside curves and outside curves and battlements and all this stuff. So it was a staggeringly elaborate. I have some of the mocks I think in the other room. I should see if
maybe at some point we can take a break.
Yeah. But basically we were scrambling around trying to get all these things together and then of course the prototypes were really challenging because then they were super heavy polystone and we're trying to hold them together with magnets and metal, and it was a whole thing. Anyway, so but one of the big learnings for me from Castles was I didn't really think about the offer much until like a week before launch. I was completely focused on making, like what I said, I'm going to design the world's greatest miniature modular castle system in 28mm scale. Check. Nothing else. There was no other, I was like,
not
how
a
are we
lot
going to
of thought.
package it? What are these sets going to be? What are the compositions of these things? How are people going to make sense of this? Like
because that's the whole thing, right? Like the art and the business, you have to get them to work hand in hand.
it was pure art. There was not a it was just figuring out. It was the logistical challenge of how do you take a huge majestic castle and break it down into modular pieces and sculpt them and make them look cohesive and do a thing and like got it. And then it was like, how do you we got to like
How do you sell this?
how do you price it? How do you sell this? How do you bundle it? And so we had the worst looking launch absolutely possible. Like so we had this, we painted ourselves into a corner because at the tail end of Cities, we released some crenellations, some small battlements, straights and corners, and a corner with a trapdoor in it. And they were like one of the breakaway sellers, right? They sold like hand over fist in Cities. So we were suddenly in this conundrum of almost everybody that backed Cities bought a whole bunch of these crenellations. Are we going to sell them a castle with all these crenellations? Like, they're going to be really annoyed if we sell them a castle that already has all these crenellations because they bought all these crenellations in the city. So we're like, oh, well, so we'll just sell them castles that don't have any crenellations. And then they can use theirs that they already have. But if they want to, they can get an add-on, whatever. So we launched all of these pledges looked like garbage because, we also didn't have the back walls on because we wanted to keep the price as low as possible. So it was basically a facade. Like it was a wall with a spacer and a roof platform and no crenellations and like a gate. And it was like, they looked absolutely terrible. Like it was just, they were incomplete. They were just, and they were expensive, right? Because these were big pieces and we had ABS around it. It was just like, people looked at it and most people were just like, what do you get? This is terrible. They couldn't, and there were some cool beauty shots where you see the whole thing, but they couldn't figure out, they're like, okay, I like that beauty shot, but how do I make that with what the heck you're offering me? Like what is this? Like what, do you even have sets to get anything beyond that? And it was, so then we're frantically like scrambling around trying to figure out sets to offer people. And then we painted ourselves into a corner because now the sets had like partially complete towers because they're part of a corner, but they didn't have enough to make a full thing. So we had to make breakout packs for the towers so they could break out. And so we were basically just trying to patch. We spent the whole Kickstarter essentially trying to patch holes in the offer. We launched with this just terrible offer and spent the whole time trying to patch holes in the offer. And then about halfway through, did these sort of pre-configured pledges, the Count's Castle, the Sorcerer's Sanctum, the Grand, what was the Royal Stronghold, was there one other? And those, like, people finally like, oh, it's finally a castle, it's a thing, it makes sense, this is awesome, and whatever. And in fact, the Sorcerer's Sanctum was just a thing I built for a beauty shot, and people were like, well, I want that, I would buy that in this heartbeat. And we're like, well, let's figure out the composition and reverse engineer it into a pledge and whatever. But it was like, the whole thing was a big learning experience on, you've got to figure out what the offer is and how to make sense of it and what packs make sense. Like the packs still don't make sense. Like on our website, I don't know how anybody figures out how to make a castle out of things. That's why we did the Deconstruct-A-Castle, because like the pack, it was like these indecipherable collections of weird pieces of geometry that individually don't make any sense. You need to combine 3 packs to get a thing just to make it. Was like, and then the packs that did make sense sold out, and we haven't restocked them. Like we had packs that were just like a level of a tower. It made sense. It was everything you needed. But those like immediately sold out because people could understand them, and now we're just left with all these weird odds and ends that are like, they don't make any sense. So then, as if it wasn't like, so it was already chaotic, right? This stuff is super expensive. It didn't really look exciting, but all the color was in these stretch goals. We hadn't released those. There were no battlements on the things. So then we also concurrently had been making the Dwarvenaut. So we had a documentary that we were making that we'd submitted to a bunch of festivals and actually got accepted to South by Southwest. We didn't actually think it was happen. And that, of course, that premiere was a week after our Kickstarter launch. So in the middle of our worst Kickstarter ever, we also had to fly down to Austin and premiere the Dwarvenaut Oh, and the Miniature Building Authority also launched launched a giant sale all in the middle of our thing on their castle stuff too, to like take a shot. So we have this Kickstarter that nobody can make sense of. They were the worst offers ever, and we're down in Austin trying to premiere a movie and gallivanting about the streets of Austin in armor, and trying to do update. Oh, it was a tough time.
It was
Wait, so let's go. Let's pull some of those fun pictures.
First off,
yeah.
There's the poster for the Dwarvenaut.
Yeah.
And,
That's a fun. It's a fun romp if you want to watch a version of the Stefan story.
Here's the other poster for the Dwarvenaut.
That was from a photo shoot we did down in Austin.
Oh, you took it in Austin while you're there for South by Southwest?
That photo, yeah. That was so our thought was so South by Southwest is just absolutely massive, right? They were like there's like huge films. There was a full-size TIE fighter with stormtroopers there because I don't remember what Star Wars thing was going, but there was literally like it's just absolutely massive. So nobody cares about your documentary. Especially your documentary about people that make miniature terrain. Like, we're one of they want to kind of fill out the lineup by having some other stuff, but like people are there to go, to see Brad Pitt and whatever. There's all this this nonsense running. So we're like, well, we're gonna get attention. So we made like 30 red cloaks that had the Dwarvenaut embroidered across the back and put on armor and costumes and whatever, and marched around in armor with the army in cloaks. And that was when a bunch of the forumites, the local forumites, Geek Jeff leading the charge, rallied up to be our street team and put up posters, and we gave everybody cloaks and knighted a bunch of people. And so we had some boots on the ground, some local guides that told give us places to eat and whatever. And we have a photo of that one. There's it's
the big group
bunch
picture.
of a bunch of dudes in a restaurant. Yeah, that's a look. That was there's a bunch of forumites in there. That was awesome too. They're really nice. Lewis and Richard and just the nicest folks. So we gallivanted around the streets of. Do you have any of the Wandering the Streets in Armor?
Yes, yeah, we got a couple of those.
So that was our plan. Is we just put up a whole bunch of Dwarvenaut posters and then marched around all day in the Austin sun in armor, which was maybe not the greatest plan ever. But it was and then Elijah Wood came to our premiere, so that was
really
cool. Yeah.
Huh.
And so then a lot of people came to our premiere just to see Elijah Wood, so that worked out.
I wish this would auto resize for me.
But it was also there was a lot of reasons I couldn't really enjoy it so much because it was a lot going on, and top of trying to keep the Kickstarter going, and a bunch of the team, Nina came down and Aaron came down and I think Toby.
Yeah, for context, the Kickstarter launched on March 6th. And then South by Southwest, the first showing of the Dwarvenaut was on March 12th. And then it showed twice more over the next 6 days. What year was this? 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it was like the craziness. So it was like trying to organize all these screenings and get people out and do this, and then get back from it and have to try and salvage. Oh, that's we brought everybody up on stage.
Yeah, so you can see Nina. There's you. Who else is in here?
I'm sure Aaron's in there. Then we had to try and revivify the Kickstarter after just being at it, trying to run a festival and not be asleep, don't ever produce a movie. It is just the worst. If you're trying to also run a Kickstarter.
Okay, fine with that. What if the Kickstarter's for the movie?
Oh yeah, I can give you that. Yeah.
Hand in hand. All right.
Yeah. What other nonsense on the streets do we have?
Guys, don't make movies. Can we have the cloak for sale in the next Kickstarter?
Yeah. We got a seamstress that does make some LARP stuff for me.
You avoided the
Made a
real
bunch.
heat. Yeah, it's true. You guys weren't there in the summer, at least.
Yeah, but it was still hot. It was really hot.
It feels like summer in March
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
it was. I was hot. It's not Vermont. I'll tell you. You have what was the other? What's the we said?
We've got a wealth of other pictures here. What are you looking
From
for?
I don't know. From Premiere.
Is this the Sugar Lift? What is that?
That's later. We'll go back
That's
to
later?
That one.
Okay.
That was.
We've got the one
Oh,
where
the
you're being
monster,
stepped on.
monster gals. That was so there were these. Oh, this is funny because it's it's just everybody's trying to get attention or whatever. These there were the Monster and energy drink ladies or whatever were there and they're like, oh, let's sword fight whatever. So I had these I had some like hard latex weapons. So I'm like, oh sure, you can like, and so I wailed this girl so hard. I forgot because I went into like LARP fighting mode, and I was like, and then I just whacked her on like square skin. I'm like, oh wait a minute, and then I let her beat me up, and I fell on the ground, and they conquered me. But I was like, I distinctly remember like going, wow, I really hit that girl hard. I was like, she was probably. I
want to find her near her end of the story, but like,
yeah,
remember that convention where I was like working?
I think it's the frowning girl at the back was just like, what did she's
it
like?
It wouldn't surprise me. She does not look happy to be there.
Yeah.
So her whole thing was like,
I didn't headshot her or anything.
Remember when that nerd just wailed on me?
Yeah, it totally is.
While I was working?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also not the, yeah. Sure. What else do we have from before we go back to the studio?
That was, we showed that. This is all studio
stuff.
stuff.
We'll go back to the snow then. We could go back to New York, and there was it was great. There was a giant blizzard, and like we couldn't even. This was the studio. This was the day only Eli. So Eli was down from Vermont, of course, sculpting away.
Well, he brought the snow with him.
Yeah, this was the only Eli and I made it into the studio because there was a blizzard, and he was like, "Well, it's just a little bit of snow. What are you guys worried about?" Oh man, that was so.
That is a lot of snow.
Yeah, you can't really tell, but it was like 3 feet of snow in front of the door. But it was cold. What other? You know what you should do? Show the build. Did you get that 4-minute video?
I do.
Show that video, and I'll go see if I can find those mocks. So
sure.
So we kind of managed to pull the Kickstarter out of the out of the tailspin, have some presentable pledges, and this was like the last couple of days of Kickstarter. I just did like a mega build, a 4x8 table, and just tried to do a city and castle crazy rune compatibility build. And then this is at like 10 o'clock at night alone in the studio. I did a walkthrough of the thing. I think it's maybe the night before the end of the Kickstarter or something. Yeah, I'm pretty fried at this point.
Yeah, I'm good to run it whenever you want.
Yeah, run it, and I'll go see if I can find those mocks.
Perfect. All right, we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Enjoy
4
this.
minutes long.
Enjoy this like progenitor of the handheld walkthrough videos. Basically.
Hey, this is Nate. I wanted to walk you through the final build we did for the finale video, which is the Siege of Valoria. Let's go take a look. So first we have a ruined cathedral here that's using the new castle builder pieces. We have some wizardmen here have taken the village and burning it down. This is a lot of city builder pieces. Other men have taken over. They're attacking the walls. They've breached the walls here. Coming up with assault ladders with scaling hooks. They've ruined pretty big sections of the wall. They're not the only ones attacking the castle. And the rat men are coming in too. And it looks like they're starting with the Barbican. So the classic barbican shape. They've breached this part. There's some docks over here. These these ratmen have run afoul of the moat crocodiles. Armored air slits. These guards are cheering on the crocodiles. We have an inside corner and an outside corner. Damaged walls. The ratmen have breached the walls over here, and the defenders are making a stand outside this keep. We've got an arbalist up there. They've set up defensive earthworks here. They're making a stand here once again with an arbalist. Up here we have a couple of suspended parapets where archers are raining down cover fire. All the way up here is the watchtower. Come across this moat here. See they're running into the far keep. Oh, we lost a corner off there. This is the little wizard's tower. That's off on a rocky outcropping. That wizard clearly wants some privacy. This is a family. This is me and Talia and my son Grayson. We're running over here to the last keep, the last tower, the last line of defense. And then, just before we think all hope is lost, who's that? In the wood, in the mountains? It's Stefan and his dog Caster, and they're summoning help. The Elder Earth Elemental. He's gonna come to aid in Valoria's defense. I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna now tear it down. Happy backing.
About the mocks, I think, which is
So
I'm such a hoarder. I keep everything, and I don't.
Nate was unable to find the mocks, so that's unfortunate.
Didn't think I'd need them for anything.
That's fair. I mean, we
Yeah.
weren't expecting to be doing this.
Yeah.
But it's interesting seeing like how enthusiastic people are about the castles here. And I do wonder.
Oh, it's a really.
It's a really cool, impressive thing to look at when you see it all
Yeah.
together at its best.
It's hard to understand. You have to kind of play with it. It's a hard one to sell. I don't know.
I think it's the
No.
most intimidating set for somebody to walk in and see in the store. I think largely because of the way the packs are set up. Although the Construct-A-Castle was like a really good, that was a good step forward. But
Yeah. Well, except we don't have like the basic walls in stock. Like we have like
yeah.
we're working on it. Do people have any questions? Like I'm trying to think what other.
There's a lot of
interesting
questions
things
about
happen.
the piece. There's a lot of questions about the pieces that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Is that half circle fire a real piece today? People love the earthworks.
The half circle fire, I think, was a resin piece from. It's a resin dungeon piece from like the Wicked Editions or Wicked Editions 2.
Okay.
The earthworks never made it. We tried the earthworks again in Caverns Deep, and they never made it. They've been kind of sitting. Yeah, they were really cool.
Rabbits shouting ruined crenellations.
Yeah, those exist somewhere. Ruined. We have a box of somewhere. There's some. We did a couple of ruined battlements, ruined crenellations, ruined. They're near the box of the burned dwarven knot letters, I think, too. We set the for the final shot of the Dwarven Up movie. We sculpted the title of the thing and cast it in resin. And then we had one of the girls that worked there, Anastasia, was a fire eater. And I was like, well, what's the most flammable thing? She's like, well, if you soak Kevlar in lamp oil, it's like really flammable. So, so we soaked Kevlar in lamp oil and draped it on top of the letters and set up a camera in the studio, like just in that big open studio, and set the letters on fire with the camera running overcranked, and then let them burn for like 2 minutes. And the resin, like you throw a little oil-soaked lamp oil-soaked Kevlar in the resin, it starts really, it goes. And so there was a semi-controlled blaze in the center of the thing, and everybody's kind of like looking around like, I think we got it. I'm like, no, we need some more, we need some more. And then finally blasted it with a fire extinguisher and like filled the whole place. I don't know if you ever blasted a fire extinguisher indoors. Also just leaves stuff in everywhere. Yeah. Man, the Dwarven Rot caused a lot of problems for the castle system. It was really, but it's a miracle too. It's a miracle that the team sort of survived through. It was a crazy period, a madcap period, and the Kickstarter wasn't wildly successful, so it was hard. Like it was just a tough run across the board. It's like I'm really glad that everybody stuck with it. Like we didn't lose, well, everybody that stuck with it. We lost a few people, but we didn't lose the core of like Nina, Aaron, Toby, Eli, Michelle, like all survived through it in a great, and we made an amazing bit. Oh, I have some fun photos from the
some of the stuff from actually in the
yeah
in the studio.
There's like
well, let's get a man. There's a lot of good stuff here. Do you want shots of people working, or do you want the?
Just pull them up and going down the line. Oh, that was Jen Yoon casting. Those are some of the original sculpts back there. Is that Eli in the background? No.
It doesn't. It looks a little taller.
We had a lot of like fly-by-night mercenaries in and around.
If you see those sculpts in the center of the table there, we actually have a closer up picture of those. This is those Aranthor sculpts. Look at that.
Yeah, like those original clay. Man, this was crazy. I was still working a full-time job doing this, and then coming in and working every night and every weekend on this project. Well, my poor wife was trying to rear our 2-year-old or our 1.5-year-old, 260. I guess no, he was going on 4.
I've got this one. Got this studio.
Oh yeah, that was the Necro. So we have a nice before and after of that, of the. The Necro.
What was Nate doing while also doing Dwarven Forge? You were doing commercials and stuff, right? Yeah. I think this is the after picture.
Here's a great one.
Yeah. Is this the? No, this isn't the after. This is a different build entirely. Where's the?
That one is the big. That was the big ruined build.
Where's the before and after?
What did I just share with you? I just shared something with you.
Coming from here. Yeah, Nate was cutting commercials for a while before he.
For like 19 years.
Yeah. And then let's see.
I directed some really riveting adult diaper commercials.
Let's see. Well, one of the things people are saying is they think one of the problems with castles is just how much the buy-in is to be able to make things.
Yep.
Because you need a fair amount to be able to make something.
There's no starter castle.
You're sending a lot. Oh, no, don't open the Windows Store.
I just found this nice picture, Stefan and I.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, let's plug that in real quick. There we go.
Oh, it's low res.
Still looks fine. That one.
That one I ran out of.
It looks so good when it's on. The out of stock Watchtower set looks like it would be a good starter castle. I've heard Necromancer's Keep is a good bit. It's not cheap though, right? It's a big. It's a big impressive thing.
Is
Oh, there was one you mentioned, Sorcerer's Sanctum.
Sorcerer's Sanctum, which we don't stock, was a pretty cool
People-
find, but it was a tower. You couldn't build like.
Seems interesting stuff. Seems crazy, unorganized times.
It was
Yes.
insane. It was not controlled chaos. It was just like chaos.
I think the Barbican Gate and the Deconstruct-A-Castle is a good starter piece.
It's expensive though. The Barbican is $4,500. What else? What other fun picks do we have from that period? That was. We had the Aranthor bits. I just sent you the Dwarvenite logo on fire. That's.
Hang on, let's actually get this down to size.
That was a fun one.
There it is. That's very good.
That's just like in the where everybody was like sculpting. Yeah, that was a good plan.
Let's see.
Where's the?
People are also asking about Gorgonite, wondering if there's any castles that don't use Gorgonite. We've got a lot of beauty shots of the castles we could use.
Oh, here's a neat one. The bottom, the one with the camera silhouette. That one's a neat one. It's a fun little gag. I'll talk about Gorgonite in a second. So this was I wanted to do a shot where we had the dragon swooping down on the castle. So Michelle sculpted a dragon head, which we then taped to the camera lens, and then had like it looked like we were on the back of a dragon swooping down, attacking the castle.
If you guys want to see what it looks like,
We had it in.
there it is.
I was testing the movement, the racking from the dragon to the.
Do you have a general price estimate on the build of the month castle for April?
About 2K.
Yeah.
I'm still messing with what's in it, whatever. All the castles require some Gorgonite because of the precision of the pieces. Like we needed, we have a lot of stuff we had to cast in Gorgonite in order for the precision fit. And it's a shame though because it doesn't feel as nice, right? The Dwarvenite is nicer to the touch.
Yeah, some people are saying they wish it was Dwarvenite, but it's...
It wasn't feasible to make it fit. Like we needed, yeah, I agree. And that's why we had a lot of emphasis on the decorative bits and all the other stuff that we went around it because it just felt better. Let's look at this castle.
All right.
I don't know.
So this is what the build of the month looks like so far.
Yeah, I added some stuff.
That was built yesterday. Do you want me to go to just Sniper?
Yeah.
Give you the whole thing?
Oh, sure.
Cool. All right, you got the whole frame in now. What's the difference? What is the difference between Gorgonite and Dwarvenite?
One's an ABS, Gorgonite's an ABS base, and Dwarvenite's a PVC base. It's rigid. So
That's really the main thing, right? Dwarvenite's more flexible.
Yep.
But they're both pretty durable.
It's the ABS is like hard rigid plastic. It feels more plasticky, and Dwarvenite is a denser rubber, more rubbery, and it just feels better to the hand. It's a little slightly softer and just feels more like, I don't know, not plastic.
So the problem is if those big castle walls were made of Dwarvenite, it would be harder for them to actually keep the shape that they need for the castle.
Yeah,
work.
these had to have a precision to them, and the line magnets and all the stuff like it. There was just a lot of. There's a lot. In retrospect, maybe we could have skinned them. I don't know. It was a whole. What was crazy too is we were sculpting these in clay, and then some of the stuff had to get 3D scanned to like get wrapped on it was like. Yeah, and then that didn't work, and the development process in castles was just nuts. I don't have the energy to go through that again.
Well, you were basically like more so than anything you'd done before. You were having to make an entirely new system.
Yep.
Like most of the stuff that that you had done with sets before didn't really apply here.
Yeah, no, it was bonkers.
Are the battlements Gorgonite?
No, they're all Dwarvenite. The battlements and the crenellations are all nice Dwarvenite. Basically everything above the wall level. The floors were Dwarvenite.
Is Gorgonite also like really tough the way that Dwarvenite is?
It's rigid.
It's rigid.
Yeah. The idea is
so like if you drop it, it's
has,
also not going to break.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It just doesn't feel. It's not as heavy, and it feels plasticky-er.
Yeah.
it doesn't have that same, oomph of Dwarvenite. What were the other? I'm trying to think the other. We learned a lot about like compositions and presentation, which I hadn't. Although it still took me a while. That kind of led to the encounters in Dungeon of Doom. Was kind of a direct response to
realizing you needed a good packaging for the pledges for people to be able to see what they could get.
Yeah. For sure.
Let's see. For me, a pair of towers and my existing dungeon tiles is often enough of a castle for a night's play.
Yeah.
True, which is another one of the things, right? That's why castles, I think, Castle seems to do really well with people who get our stuff to do like diorama photos.
Yep.
And wargamers who need to fill like a whole table.
Or if you want to do that cool, that siege adventure and the thing, like, at some point I'm definitely gonna have my players like defend the castle against a horde and like.
It's one of those things that like in concept it seems really really cool. Like everybody wants to do the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to do those things,
yeah.
But it feels like like the idea of like storming an entire castle doesn't actually come up that often. In
Tell you what though, we did at Gen Con, we did a game. Geez, what was this? 4 years ago, at it was the first time Gen Con had the Lucas Oil Field set up in there. So we had a huge table set up at the 50-yard line in who plays in the Colts, maybe in whatever their stadium, their football stadium, 50-yard, like right in the middle of this giant football stadium, Indiana.
Indiana? Yeah, it's the Colts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we ran a game for 12 players, which was just a terrible. Swan's like, yeah, just invite everybody in. It's gonna be good. I'm like,
oh my god.
In a football stadium with all these other people started screaming wherever, but like had a huge castle that they basically had to storm with undead Sassul in golem armor, but it was really fun. So it was kind of a fun siege. They had to figure out how to get in and do this or whatever. And so, but I had Nina and Aaron and Toby as NPCs. Like we did a whole thing where they got to role play. It was like a dinner party thing, and they got to role play with them, and it's kind of fun. But yeah, it's rare that you get to actually do a full-on siege. What do people have questions about the castle?
Yeah. What questions do you guys have about this? Because that's the thing is we really want to cover. We do have a list of topics.
I mean, I could just tell more war stories, but there's got to be other.
Is there anything you can do that's cool with castles that you feel like people don't really realize often?
This side goes super vertical.
Yeah.
There's a lot of neat stuff you can do with these. There's all these little wall accessory that have these little clips. You can use these to kind of decorate a bunch of stuff in neat ways. You can do fun using the cube spacers and the stairs. You can really make some interesting stair stuff, like DW did on that Twitter post that he put up. This half spacer has metal in it. Like they're all like all the spacers have metal, so you can use them as magnetic walls for a variety of things. There's fun bridge shenanigans you can do. You know what the terribly named modular wall of doom, which it's a city builder conversion wall. We need to rename that thing. It was just a joke working title that ended up in the thing, but that thing lets you slot in any city builder wall into a castle wall.
Oh.
So you can use it to put an LED wall in, or a window wall, or even a door wall, or whatever. Like it opens up. There's a whole bunch of fun building things you can do with that thing. Let me pull it. The MWAD.
Question: what should I buy now to learn castles that would work really well with Build of the Month? What's a good thing to buy if you are trying to figure out?
Build of the Month is going to have everything. Like it's artillery post. It has a long wall, which this doesn't have, or it's got both corner tower styles. It's got. You could go crazy and buy the Barbican, which has a lot of interesting sort of city builder pieces that go with this. This doesn't have a Barbican. You could buy.
If it doesn't have a Barbican, what kind of castle is it?
Well, I used the postern gate, and I was going to try and put the Hellgate in.
I saw people were actually saying they wanted to keep the postern gate instead.
Yeah, well, I needed the walls and the battlements and the city builder. Like, I got more bang for my buck out of it. Hang on, let me get a city builder.
No worries. I guess you can talk from out there.
Can you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loved.
Oh. Love from New York.
Is there any difference in painting the Gorgonite versus the Dwarvenite?
I don't think so.
He's also not the painter, so it's
I haven't ever painted any castle stuff. I just stick to minis and
You feel like it's a little glossier? Okay. I think people in chat who have painted both of them, I think you would know better than either of us, honestly.
I feel like you might want to prime the Gorgonite, but I could be wrong. Can you swing the sniper over here? Let's this thing, the poorly named Modular Wall of Doom.
Let's add that onto the name.
What?
Let's add that onto the name. The poorly named Modular Wall.
Yeah. So this thing lets you, right, oops. You can, so you can slot in, is this one even gonna fit? You can slot into your city builder walls. I don't know why you got a window here, but you can. With the, including a door, but this is the key one, is you can put the, oh man, I didn't turn it on first. Oh, I did, yes. No. Put your LED, so you can put your LEDs on. This thing is dynamite.
Can you ask Nate to put the CBS advanced balcony with the roof in the modular wall?
Oh. Why, that's a fine idea. You can ask him. Yes.
Do you think we're gonna make some? Well, I guess that means stuff in KS8 could go with.
Yeah.
Could go in there.
Yeah. No, that thing was like a secret. It was a hit in my mind.
Does the Barbican have an auto drawbridge or a manual drawbridge?
We've offered both options.
Okay. Cool.
Oh yeah, that was trying to figure out the drawbridge. Oy.
It's a cool little feature to have though.
Oh yeah.
Like from what I hear, like one of the coolest things to do at a convention is just to have the drawbridge actually work.
Yep. Facts.
I feel like there's something else. Oh yeah. What stuff would you suggest people buy to prepare themselves for KS8? That's come up a couple times. Is there any set that you think would be a good prep for the city stuff coming later this year?
Wait, where?
Tyler, are you watching? Where's the advanced CBS balcony with the roof?
I'm looking for
Tyler, help.
I'm looking for the city builder wall balcony conversion piece. It's the. It's always good when I can't even remember the name of the piece I named. Maybe it's on the thing. There was a. We did a straight. I want to try this one. We have the wall, the bridge base, the CBS bridge base piece that we. Let's first try this. We can put this in if you want.
I had no idea that worked like that.
Yeah, this is a hidden gem.
That's true. We talked about it at the.
Tell Andrew.
Tell Andrew about the balcony.
These are hidden gems. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I've done actually?
Should we tell people about that?
This is a fun. I did like a cool little dock setup. Like this is the waterside thing, and then I had like I used the arch wall, and it's like a neat little dock bit. Let me see if I can find this other balcony. Oh, we're gonna do the deluxe one, so we wanted to see that.
Sounds like people are saying the streets are a good thing to buy in preparation for KS8, Imperial Roads.
Oh, I haven't thought about KS8 yet, but it's.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're doing that thing right now.
Look at this. So you could do this thing if you want. Oh, the Tudor. Hang on. I got another one. We got more. Oh man, I like building.
Let's see. Magnetic wall bits probably wouldn't hurt. Maybe a hamlet. Oh, that's answering that question. A lot of these are good recommendations. Imperial Streets would be good just because like most of the stuff that we're making would be able to build in line with them, and we're not planning to make full Imperial Street sets in the Kickstarter, though we may make adapter pieces, which will work with the streets.
Where the heck? Where in Heckington is...
How reliable is the motor on the auto drawbridge?
I've never had one not work.
Does it eat the batteries quick?
No.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, wow. Huh.
That's your garderobe. Eh? you could put this guy up there.
I'm glad that you thought of the shark bait joke too. Not you, but
What?
Mako in chat. Stone runes are good too. Streets are good for wargaming.
Oh, they were asking what was good to get.
They're all giving each other advice on like what is a good thing to get in preparation for KS8.
Just save your money.
That's also fair. Because this is the thing: is you could wait for KS8, get what you want there, and then in the time between
Yes, there'll
the
be a lot of
Kickstarter
time.
and when it actually delivers, you'll have a better idea of what you want, what you're trying to supplement it with.
That's a much more reasonable plan.
That does make a lot of sense.
Huh. Man, where is...
Storage bins is a good point.
Storage bin's a good thing to buy. Man,
Man,
I want the... I haven't tried this...
I genuinely didn't know that this wall existed.
Yeah, well, that's a problem, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, this was one of my... I thought this was going to be like this secret hot tip.
Unless you sell out like with docks. So we're definitely going to be restocking docks when we get around to restocking.
When we get around to restock.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're ordered. They're coming.
Yeah, they're like docks are on the list. We don't know when the next restock's going to be. The factory has been on Chinese New Year, so when they are back from that, which I think they're getting back now, we're going to have a big meeting where we go over the stuff that we want to restock and we work out what the schedule is with further restocks for the year.
What the heck?
So that's the main thing. Is just all of our production kind of stops for a bit at Lunar New Year.
I wish I could find that. There's the piece that it's the CBS version of this. That's a CBS insert slot that has this hanging down that you can attach things. So you can attach a bridge, the bridge piece out from this, which is really cool. The other pieces that I love, the buttresses are like a just look cool everywhere. Like you
Plan what works with. Oh, sorry.
I guess. Yeah, it works with what?
Plan what works with K7 and KS8 for restocks, please. We're trying to.
We're gonna have a bunch of city stuff.
Yeah, we've got a lot of cities on the list. We're getting docks in specifically because of Wildlands. We're trying to make sure. We're trying to be smart about what we restock. We're trying to pay attention to what people are looking for. We're paying attention to what releases we have coming. We've got like a whole team that is dedicated to trying to make the store as efficient as possible for everybody.
These are facts. What are some other fun castle?
I didn't know you could do all that. And so you could just like hang that off the side of one of the.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fun possibilities with that. In that build, DW did use this with a double door, the CBS double doors in it, on the top of his build.
Oh yeah, I think people asked to see like the door wall in there.
Very well. Making it so.
I think I
just
remember
rolled
seeing,
every card in here.
I think I remember seeing that message, but there's been a lot.
Yeah.
How many employees are there? I think we're just under 20 when you factor in everybody, and that's including people who are just like remote that work on the website and stuff. I think we're a little under 20 altogether.
I'm so frustrated about this wall.
I don't know if he remembers that people can hear him when he has the live mic on. He's throwing pieces around out there. Let's see. Thanks, Dragos. What about the wargaming sets? Do we have a call for those?
We're trying. There's manufacturing adventures.
Yeah.
Here's a double doors. So if you put your
Don't let Snape know they're here.
I need a floor, but like you could put your.
Huh. Yeah, you could theoretically make like a massive stairway up to
Yeah.
up to that.
Why can't I just
The arch
find-
window wall is awesome, but so hard to get.
Yeah. So imagine this was a floor. Right? You could do a thing. Big there. You could put this little. You could put this guy in. I do this a lot. Also works for interior, like if you want to connect a CBS building to the side of your build. I have like I connect on the second floor like this sort of. I have a building here with no wall, and then you can sort of connect in there. I use that gag a bunch in the Construct-A-Castle. You put your magnetic wall on there and stick a magnetic attachment on there. You can put this door and just do like I'll have to get a little higher stairs, but
Yeah.
you work some stairs.
It'd be pretty easy to like just drop a 6x6 under there or something.
This, speaking of stairs, this was one of my MVP. So the stairs, the castle stairs. Oh no!
What happened?
I was supposed to make sure not to.
Did you mix something up?
Yeah, the pieces for this build of the month. Wait, okay, this is
Did
not.
you take stuff out of the build?
I don't know. Wait, oh no.
I hope Tyler's not watching.
Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna take all this stuff aside. Leave it there. I can put these stairs back. Well, there's the stairs have a. When the build of the month comes with an extra tree, you know why. You decide here first. These stairs have this little guy, and this is one of my favorite pieces. This little the two-step, because basically anytime you have to go up one floor height, this is the guy that'll get you there, and you use it to step down like onto the. If you've got the balcony, if you were doing like a thing in here and you didn't have a balcony, you put this there. You put like, I just use it for everything. Those little steps are. Yeah.
It also seems useful for if you're building like a house that isn't in line with streets or something. If it's on top of a
little front doorstep.
Yeah.
Nope. I think these are all. Oh man, did I bring these stairs from? Deep breath.
Well,
where did these stairs even go? So I don't think I stole these stairs. I think these stairs are definitely part of the build, for sure. Free stairs in the middle of the month.
That's a fiddly bit, is what people are saying.
They're all fiddly bits, yeah.
Well,
pole accessory holes are all over the place in this castle. I really like that.
That's fair. Yeah, when people like really deck out their castles, I think it's the thing is, Construct-A-Castle went a long way, but I think the more work we can do to make the castles less confusing,
not possible,
more approachable. Yeah,
it's just about set compositions. Like the set, it's really hard to figure out the right how to make the sets make sense.
Well, yeah, because it's that thing where like having a couple walls isn't going to do much for you.
Well, we just have to bundle stuff up, bigger bundles that all make a thing. Because right now it's just like it's buckets of component pieces that like you need 6 different buckets. You don't know which buckets you need, and it's like, yeah.
We're definitely making new terrain trays with KS8, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Battle boards too.
Better to buy Construct-A-Castle walls or Castle Builder walls?
Construct-A-Castle.
Construct-A-Castle.
Complete. Because you have everything you need. You've got the crenellations. That was the other. Man, we had to figure out how, because making the walls so they could take crenellations or battlements.
That's true, because I guess you had to.
Yeah, because
you had to be building backwards a little bit because you'd already made decisions in KS3.
Oh yeah, and those matriculations that were really causing right. So this was I was very proud of figuring this one out. Like, because then also we wanted them. Well, we also wanted them to be able to work backless so that you could play. You could play in the thing. So one of the neat things was, so we have this little notch here, which was ostensibly so you could put any of these clip. This was so you could put one of your decorative clip bits in there, in line, and then pave over it. Right, so you could do that sort of a thing. But also, I don't have one. We have, if you get the city build, any of the castle stuff, they also had this little hook, this little metal hook thing, and it was, you could slide the metal hook. If this was built in line, Oh no, where did I get these walls? Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that everything I get. I'm gonna leave this over here. We're gonna not touch this build. I should never. Why did I have this idea, Chris? Why did I say I'm gonna do a stream of the castles next to this castle that I built that I can't touch any of the pieces for?
I'm sorry I forced you to do it with the table that had the build of the month on it.
That was my idea. I
was trying to give you an out, but
I know.
that's all right.
Yeah. I just because I wanted to have a castle there.
I remember being like, "Are you sure they won't cause any problems?" You're like, "Yeah, it'll be fine."
Yeah, I won't touch any of those things. So the idea was once the wall is built, you can use that little hook thing to like reach in there and pop this back wall off, so you can get inside the wall while your castle's built and you're playing. You can get in there and actually move your minis around and have like minis inside the wall while they're on top of the wall.
So Jade is saying that you took that clip gargoyle from the build of the month for sure.
Yep, I got that one.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah, keeping me honest.
They're saying we have a recording of it, so we can always just watch the stream back to see what you moved.
I can't go back and watch it. Oh, yeah, Tyler, I got a mission for you. Go watch the stream.
It'll be fun for you because it's like new content.
Yeah. So we got these. This was neat, being able to get the battlements to work on the walls. And then on the roof platforms, you can put the battlements on the city builder buildings. There's so much compatibility between the city builder and the castles. It's like, it's pretty.
I think the castles have a lot of functionality that isn't apparent at first glance.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know all the stuff you could do with that little modular wall.
We've got the fact that the slits in the battlements go all the way through, and these it's totally excessive. Those little murder holes here, you can see the light come through, go all the way through the floor. Like, we paid so much to have that happen, and it doesn't make any, like, there's no absolutely no reason. Like, it's like you could have just pretended that they go all the way through. These things, I wish I'd done more shutter ahead, like having these removable shutter slots. We could have capitalized on that more. We did actually. We have 3 different types of shutters. We have those iron ones, we have these wood ones, and we have the demon ones. They're like so fun.
Crazy financial question.
Yeah.
We're not a financial advisor.
I'm a part-time accountant.
So if I plan on buying the build of the month castle and the Barbican Gatehouse,
yep.
How many walls should I pick up to even out the walls and give more interior space?
This is a great question. The problem is I would recommend 2 basic wall sets, but we don't have them in stock. So
I will see if it's on the restock list.
Yeah.
That we're planning to get.
I hope it is. I'd get 2 sets of the long walls, the Castle Builder long walls, because those things are great, man. When you slap down, look at this. This is a foot long.
I do not see them. We should. That seems like a pretty important set to have in stock.
This thing, I can't even get on camera. It's too big. All right, so these guys are dynamite. Or you get the artillery post, which is an even cooler version of these. Or you could get.
Diagonal dungeon walls, people keep saying. People really want those vaulted diagonal dungeon walls.
They're hard to get? Oh, they're not in yeah.
We don't have them stocked, but the thing is, so a fair amount of people in the Discord watch Critical Role together every night in a chat specifically for it.
He did like a huge...
Every time Matt Mercer makes a dungeon build, he uses a ton of
diagonals.
diagonal vaulted walls.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, this wall, this is a good one. It's a big... I get a pair of these things, and then there's enough, I think there's enough single walls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8 or 9 or 10. Yeah, I think if you got 2 of these, you'd be okay. Or 2 artillery posts or something like that. You could always get 4.
Oh, I know I saw another thing here. Can you still buy full castles, like with 4 large towers?
Man, I got a rep.
Yeah, we got to wrap soon. I'm trying to get these last questions through.
What was the question?
Can you still buy full castles, like with 4 large towers, outside of this build of the month coming up?
They are, I believe they're sold out.
Are we going to restock the Royal Stronghold?
No. No, it's a brutal.
It's too much.
Too many crazy pieces. But what you can do is you can buy. That's what the Deconstruct-A-Castle is, right? We've got 3 different styles of corner towers: small round, large round, or square. And then you buy your walls. And you buy your gatehouse. We got 2 different gatehouse options. You get the postern or the barbican. You've got right now the basic walls are out of stock. Those are the shorties. But we've got these big long guys. We've got the artillery post, which is this with like a cool square tower with ballistas. We've got the inline tower. So you buy you can buy 4 or 3 of those, right? Buy a gate, either a barbican or a postern gate. Buy 3 of these. So I'd buy 2 artillery posts and a long wall, or 2 long walls and an artillery post, or 2 long walls and a inline tower, and then buy 4 towers of your flavor, or whatever, mix and match. Get 2 large and 2 small, or 2 square and 2 small, or 4 large, or whatever you want. And then boom, you've got a castle. It's done. Simple, as easy as that.
Yeah.
Right? You need one gate option, 3 wall options, and 4 corner options, and you have a nice square castle.
Because that was the entire point of Construct-A-Castle, right?
Yeah, I think we have a video that explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire the big massive builds are too expensive, so
we made smaller massive builds.
Smaller
that
massive
you
builds.
can put together to make it too expensive one.
Yeah, where literally any of them should be able to
Yeah. They all have the same footprint, and you can just sort of mix and match. I was gonna, there were a couple of sets that were cut. I wanted to do the Chantry, like a cool divine one, and the Mage's Tower that was going to be like an inline tower, using the modular wall, the poorly named modular wall of Doom, with a bridge to a tower. So like it was the tower that was going to be set off from the wall because nobody wanted to be in the Mage. Like it was that one didn't get made. The problem is we haven't sold, like we've never, in the history of castles, we haven't really sold a ton of castles in the grand scheme of things. Not like we've, like dungeons, we've sold a lot of dungeons. Like those are, so it's hard to do more. Like we still haven't sold out our initial order of Construct-A-Castle except for those basic walls. So
I wonder how much of it is a lack of interest in castle builds and how much of it is about
poor marketing on our part.
Well, it's a thing where it's like, how do you Construct-A-Castle is probably as close as we can actually get to offering like an affordable core set, right?
And affordable is in quotes.
Yes.
It's not,
You can't make like a small 6x6 6-inch by 6-inch room and be like, this is like a nice little starter dungeon.
No, it's all big. It's a big commitment. Like it's a big. But man, they are fun and awesome. Like it really. Nothing at conventions. We always have to do a castle build because that's the first thing that gets people's attention.
It's something that's super impressive when it's there, but I also understand why it's not the first thing people go to.
Yeah. This guy, the suspended parapet, the Bartizan, is the other big. Where did I put that boy? That's my other favorite. Man, just looking at this collection of pieces is.
Technically, a castle just needs a cube to be a starter castle. Yeah. I think the idea though of getting a few sets that you can have like a wall outside of a town or something is enough for a lot of people for a lot of games. I think, as opposed to making an entire castle.
That guy is the.
But also, just the pure cinematic joy of having an entire castle to storm is just a very cool experience. But it's also a very expensive one.
This thing that attaches to your city builder buildings because it's got a built-in corner post, or it attaches to your corner wall, and then you can build a tower on it, or you can just build battlements around it. Like this, it's like this thing is gold.
You turn it upside down; it's like a driftstone.
Yeah, people have built 4 of them upside down, and like then there's some really cool. Ryan Sorn. Ryan Devoto has these has a castle with 4 of these around a square thing, all with towers on them. I'm like, there's some really neat stuff you can do. This is a beefy piece.
Yeah. Let's get you out of here.
Yeah, I didn't have a good dismount for castles. I didn't have well. In the end, it turns out
I think that's
we weathered
the story
siege.
of castles. Well, I guess that's the thing. Yeah, it's like this was a large. I was saying earlier, a lot of people in here were saying that they first heard about us through KS5. And I'm sort of like looking back at it, I kind of feel like KS5 was a large turning point.
Yes.
In terms of the way that
Yes.
this company presents itself and the way that you put together
you mean
Kickstarters.
we didn't put castles with no battlements out, and we didn't put dungeons out without dragons or whatever. Well, I guess we did. We didn't have any dragons.
Well, I mean,
you know what was a fun one?
What?
Wait, do you have the Yorgrim photo one last on a nice fun out? So this shows you
Yorgrim photo.
and actually, the Necro drawbridge is the other. Here's two fun
Yorgrim
facts.
photo.
He was he's in the last photo. Very last
Oh, yeah.
So this guy got made during Castles. Drew sculpted this guy, and he didn't see the light of day until Cavern's Deep. So that was...
It's a cool little sculpt.
Yeah. That was, I don't know, 3 years later.
I wouldn't mind painting these, honestly.
And then the throne, Zaltar's throne in Zaltar's game room, Michelle had sculpted for Castles and got held. But the longest one was, go to the second to last photo.
Second to last photo. These didn't save in the same order.
No, there's right next to the Orgrim. That one.
This
second
one?
last. Penultimate photo. Oh, you can't see it. It's closed.
Oh my god.
The Necromancer's drawbridge that we teased, but we didn't end up making.
Oh my god. This is so much bigger than the Orgrim photo.
Wow. I thought we could see it on this thing. I should have sent you one where we could see it. Well, the drawbridge that's open on there is the Necromancer's drawbridge that you can't see it there. It's down. It's on the ramp.
Oh.
That was
That was used in Hellscape, wasn't it?
that came out in Hellscape. So that was 4 years later. That was last year? Was Hellscape last year? 2 years ago. Wait, what year?
Summer 2019.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get a summer 2020.
Oh, so it's only 3 years later.
Yeah.
Huh. But I guess it just shipped.
Yeah, it shipped
so
last year.
4 years later.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So some of these things we create and then they kind of sit in the vault for a little bit until
Any city beans? We did
next week.
Yeah, next week. We did one a couple weeks ago. We're going to do another one next week.
That was a cool build.
What are these? I've seen them before in Dwarven Forest, but I never got the story. Are you talking about the Yorgrim?
The Yorgrim. They are Fae from the Arctic Fae, blue-skinned, horned, lawful evil Fae that have a passion that keeps them from freezing.
Huh. I didn't know that lore. Well, that's interesting.
There's their heart flame or something. That's their, and so that's the sort of the driver in Caverns Deep is his love. He ruled with his love Sunhild, but she got turned into a spider beast by Grimorna. So he's basically freezing away. He's losing all essence. But the clan, he's bound to Grimorna. It's a whole fun role play.
I should incorporate that in that.
Yeah, they're neat. They're a lawful evil Fae group that they like forging, and they have a code. They had to take the oaths of the Yorgrim to get out of the harsh. I can't remember all of it. It was fun though. Yeah.
Well,
the oath of requital. All right.
I think that's
On
everything.
that note, yeah. I wanted to go out on the Yorgrim because that was fun. So the moral story is you can wait. Sometimes, some of the things you have to wait a few years to get. So be patient, like that cow.
That cow.
Could,
that's the thing is I think everybody. That's the funny thing is we showed us stuff in that book and everybody was asking for us to go back to castles and
go back to cows. So if we take one thing away from today, it's cows would sell. People want to sell.
We can make a modular cow pretty easily.
Animal carcass.
just have it stand on its feet, and it's a living cow, and you just put it on its side. And
it's got wounds and disease on it and stuff.
It could just be fine.
Next to the jug, nasty. Well,
they're oh, what, the KSA cow ammo?
Yeah. Oh, the cow. He's been waiting.
That'll be the $5 million stretch goal. We hype it so much. It's it's some new. It's a mini. It's you don't know what's gonna be.
Dead cow.
They unlock it.
Well, you asked for it because
our funding immediately drops under $4 million.
Yeah.
after we.
It was fun to flip through the journal, see the old,
Yeah.
see the old stuff. We'll do one of these. Maybe we'll do a retrospective on Dungeon of Doom at some point.
It's one of those
Yeah,
situations
yeah.
where I think, we could have we spent like 40 minutes on the anniversary game, and like, man, we could have gone for another hour on this. It's
Could have showed some other. I'm sure there's 1,000 little tricks and stories about some of these pieces that worked and didn't work, and the ones that didn't quite make it.
there's a lot of history and stories.
This was
in this company.
These things, these insert walls, were the remnants of that dungeon system. That was. You could conceptually make a dungeon out of these Master Mason walls, which was because they're a half-inch thick, so you could. Oh man, what?
We just keep going like, all right, we're gonna wrap it
Oh
up.
yeah, I know. I'm just looking at. There's like a cart of 1,000 pieces over here, and I'm like, wow, I could. There's a.
It's all the memories coming back. Wow, the way that just snapped together.
Yeah, I really like magnets.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
It's funny, yeah. There's like so many little stories behind the development of all these pieces.
I don't even remember all the stories. That's the.
Well, that was the funny thing was like when we started talking about like, we'll do a retrospective, and then earlier today, you started going over it, and you're like, oh wait, I forgot about this, and oh
Yeah.
man, and yeah.
There's a whole movie premiere in the middle of the thing.
I had no idea that happened at the same time.
Yeah, that was.
Man.
All right, so for real, we're wrapping up.
Yeah, we gotta call this.
Maybe one day I'll build a dungeon on these.
A Dungeon-A-Castle pieces?
Yeah,
That
all
could
you
be
need are
interesting.
floors.
Would you just use regular dungeon floors, or would you use
except for Scalegate, but yeah.
Right, I forgot about Scalegate. Wow, we didn't even touch on that.
No. We'll touch on that when we do a cities retrospective. All right.
That's fair.
All right, let's go for real.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope this was a interesting. I don't know. I don't know if we've done a wandering back retrospective episode. Hopefully, it was a fun ride.
I don't think we have.
In
There's
retrospect, we haven't
there's
had-
been moments where we talked about stuff in the past, but having this episode just be focused on just the castles is something else.
It's a wild ride. I could not.
We might have done it a little bit for Caverns Deep.
Yeah. Oh man, that one. That might even been more grueling than castles.
I've heard some stories.
Yeah.
The only thing I can really speak on is Hellscape and Wildlands, but
Yeah, I decided to make I don't know, however many 70 minutes of stop motion animation in the middle of a Kickstarter. Also, maybe not the best idea.
not if you don't have the staff for it.
I had an 80-page script for a feature-length stop motion thing to shoot for the thing that Liam was gonna voice and do the he was gonna be video director for the whole thing, and he signed on. He's like, yeah, I'm totally on board. And then I sent him straight. He's like, this is a feature film. He's like, you realize what I said? I'm like, well, nah, man, it's only 80. He's like, this is a feature film. This is 80 page. Like, what is going on here? And he's like, how are you gonna do this? I'm like, well, I'll get back to you.
How hard could stop motion be? They don't even have to actually move.
Yeah,
It's just pictures.
Yeah. So that turned into we ended up shooting a lot by the end. I was like, well, we'll just do short little things for each thing, and each one turned it long. But anyway, that was okay. So good night, everybody. Thank you. Once the memory gates open, it's
There's
All right. He did the voice of he did a voice of like 4 characters in there. There's like. He's a squeaky, like he's like it's just a squeaking rat at one point. We have Leon O'Brien just like squeaking as like there's like it could have been a stock sound effect, but
we're
it's
pulling
Liam.
in the.
It's like,
it's like when they're like, we got Vin Diesel as Groot. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? He's not actually doing anything. Like, what?
yeah, no, he was in. He's once
like-
you get him in the booth, he's just
Like,
like,
yeah, that's that's the voice actor for Appa. And you're like, the one that was just roars. Like,
oh yeah.
it's All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
See you. Next
Bye.
week.